was a beautiful day. The sun beat down. I had the radio on. I was driving. Trees flew by. Me and Del were singing. Little runaway. I was flying. Yeah, running down a dream that never would come to me. Working on a mystery. Going wherever it leads. Running down a dream. Whoa.
It's NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs from ISM Raceway. This telecast presented by USAA. It's as simple as this. If you're in the playoffs and you win, you advance. Well, two drivers have done it already in this round, Martin Truex Jr. and Kevin Harvick. One more driver is looking to win here to solidify a spot in the championship four. But all six drivers that aren't highlighted right now, they are looking for as many points as they can to be a part of the championship four next week. Alongside Steve Letarte, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Rick Allen with you. Who looks the best of those six to take the last two spots?
Well, I mean, obviously, Kyle Busch and Joe Logano are in a good position right now as this race starts. But Denny Hamlin, he's had a lot of speed all weekend, very fast in practice, very confident in his car. Blaney's quick here, didn't qualify all that well, but Larson's fast as well. Everybody in this list is going to be in contention throughout this race. Even Chase Elliott, who really didn't show a lot of speed in practice, I think he'll find a way to work his way into that top five, into that top three late in this race when we have those final restarts. He's going to be there. They're all going to be there. One of these guys, or maybe a few of them, might have some problems, might have some mistakes on pit road or on the racetrack that take them out of this. But all these cars and drivers have the speed to win.
Well, you talk about speed. That's the data. That's the analytics. This is the playoffs. This is the last chance to move forward. I want to know who has the guts, who has the courage, who can fight the playoff pressure. We have seen mistakes. That is pressure-based. And, Rick, the pressure starts right away. All the playoff drivers will start inside the top 10. When we see the green, there'll be 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 wide on this front stretch. The playoff pressure will be right away.
Denny Hamlin has faced this pressure before, and he bowed to it. Now he thinks that he's ready to take on this pressure. Do you guys agree? Can Denny take on this pressure and get to the championship four?
Yeah, I think he can. He's got a great race car, and he's got to have that confidence in that car after practice.
Careers are about moments. This is the moment for Denny Hamlin. If he wants to be a champion, it starts here in Phoenix.
Speaking of starts, let's get the engines fired up. We go for the command.
Famous words in motorsports, please welcome our Grand Marshal, star of CW's Riverdale, Lachlan Monroe.
ISM race car fans and NASCAR fans around the world, are you ready to shake and bake? Drivers, start your engine!
Who rises to the pressure on the biggest stage? That's what today is, the big stage to make it to the championship four. We race next. NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by USAA. Let's thank our veterans. Join us at USAA.com/Veterans Day. The all-new Ford Explorer, built Ford proud. John Deere Gator Utility Vehicles, run with us. And by Arby's, we have the meats. All right, it's time now for this week's Joyride with Jeff, and probably one of the most decorated passengers we have ever seen in the passenger seat here at Sergeant Dakota Meyer. He is a U.S. Marine Corps officer and a Medal of Honor recipient for his actions at the Battle of Ganjgal. He was awarded that medal. He is the second youngest living Medal of Honor recipient at just 31 years old. Jeff Burton, valuable commodity there with you in that passenger seat.
Hey, buddy, we're so happy you're here with us today. You know, people tune in to watch their heroes, but you are everyone's hero, you and you guys. So proud to have you today.
Thank you so much.
So here's what we're going to do, man. We're going to give you the full deal. So we're going to do us a little Phoenix restart. And this track's crazy, right? So we'll get our tires warmed up. I'm going to do the whole deal for you. We're going to drop on the apron and all that stuff. So you ready?
All right, let's do it.
Here we go.
Oh, this is awesome.
What you got, bud?
Oh, this is awesome.
Gotta not mess this corner up, man.
Oh, man.
This is the important corner right here.
There's no better way to spend the Marine Corps birthday.
How about it, buddy?
Oh, man, listen, that was amazing. Listen, and there's no better way to spend the Marine Corps birthday.
Hey, man, seriously.
Thank you so much.
We are so proud to have you, and our country supports you 100%.
Thank you.
You and everybody like you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hey, are we the new Shake and Bake?
Hey, all right, Shake and Bake's good.
We're the new Shake and Bake.
You love it. Sergeant Dakota Meyer there. And you mentioned the Marine's birthday. 1775, 244 years celebrating United States Marines. The official pace car for today's Bluegreen Vacations 500 is the 2019 Toyota Camry. It will be out in front of the field as they're beginning to roll around this 1 mile racetrack. Want to take a look at the starting grid today, brought to you by USAA. Kyle Busch got his first pole of the year, and he is going to be starting up front, and it's going to be a very popular area for the drivers in the playoffs, all up front.
Yeah, there was no guarantees where they would qualify. Well, the front 7 positions will all be taken by playoff drivers. Kevin Harvick will be back in row 4 and 7. Ryan Blaney, the worst playoff driver, and even he is in row 5. So they're all going to be able to see each other when the green flag waves.
Yeah, they not only qualified really well, but they all ran well here in March. Each of these guys finishing in the top 14. So you're going to have to win. That's why I think you're going to have to win if you're going to come out of here and go into the Homestead with a chance to race the title.
And it has taken a win at Miami Homestead when they have gone there for that championship to win the title. See a little bit further back, Jimmy Johnson back there in row 11. Bubba Wallace, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. will be back in row 12.
John Hunter Nemechek, his second start, he ran 21st last week in his debut. Great run in that car.
Yeah, very impressive what he did. Gets a chance to run triple duty this weekend, John Hunter is.
And running against his father, which is pretty impressive as well. Joe Nemechek will be in the race also. We'll be back in row 18, Garrett Smithley. There's Joe Nemechek, as we mentioned. Reed Sorensen and Joey Gase back in row 19, and J.J. Yaley rounding out the field. All right, Steve, let's break this one down. It's actually a relatively short race as far as distance.
Yeah, you don't tune away. You don't want to blink. This track goes by very quickly. It's going to catch your attention. There's some odd sight lines at the starts. It's a 1 mile oval, 312 laps, 312 miles. We will have stages, very important stages, with points being awarded 75 laps for both stage 1 and stage 2. And that leaves that final run to the checkered flag 162 laps. You can run 84 to 86 laps on fuel, and we'll say it all day. It's the final race. 8 drivers enter. 2 are already moved on. That leaves 6 guys for 2 spots.
And we want to check in with those on pit road. We'll start off with Kelly Stavis.
Well, Rick, the objective today for Chase Elliott and this 9 team is clear. They have to win this race if they're going to be a part of the championship 4. Now, crew chief Alan Gustafson conceded to me that they don't have the best race car out there today, but he told me they're in the ballpark, and he believes they've got the driver and pit crew to get things done. On top of that, he said this race presents a lot of opportunity for some alternate strategies, and he's ready to roll the dice today. Chase Elliott starts this one 6th, Parker.
Well, Kelly, for Kyle Larson, the 27-year-old from California, this is the furthest he's ever gone in the playoffs. So this year will be a success no matter what happens today. But this team being 23 points down below the cut line says they most likely need to win. The good news, they have the speed and the car to win. They're very confident and obviously showed that speed in qualifying, starting 5th, Dave.
Parker, will the current champion be around in Miami to defend his title next week? That's the question for Joey Logano. This round, he started above the cut line and has been increasing that distance with each of the races. He could do it on points today, but he may have to make it to victory lane. And he told me he's got a car capable of doing just that today, Marty.
Well, Dave, here in the practice sessions at Phoenix, Denny Hamlin has had the best car. Now he has to back it up in the race. Chris Gabehart, his crew chief, told him before the race, I want the chest-thumping, shot-calling, confident Denny Hamlin behind the wheel of my race car today. We're going to start aggressive, and we're going to stay aggressive all day long. And Gabehart said, I know in my heart, Denny, we are going to be in Miami with a shot to win the championship. 2 tickets left to Miami, Rick, who claims them in 312 laps.
Right now, he's outside of that championship 4, but ready to fight for a spot in the championship 4. Aerial coverage presented by Coca-Cola today. Looking down on this, again, renovated mile racetrack. The start-finish line moved last year. It's now what used to be turns 1 and 2. It's just outside of that, and that is 3 and 4. We're going to ride along with a few different drivers. And Junior, this is a pretty good perspective being right in the car with them.
Yeah, we got 5 in-cars today, all playoff drivers. We want to thank those teams for allowing us to ride on board today. The first one, Ryan Blaney, Ford Performance Cam. Looking at the driver here, also got a side reverse driver and a roof camera on that car. Kevin Harvick with the Hunt Brothers Pizza camera. He has a side panner, always carrying that side panner. We're on the roof right here. Also, Denny Hamlin with the Coca-Cola cam. The left front bumper cam. Remember, that's mounted toward the left front bumper. He's going to get down next to that apron. We're going to see some great shots of how he's using that apron down here in 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Joey Logano with the Coca-Cola cam. Reverse driver as well, just like his teammate Ryan Blaney. Get to see him working that wheel. And then Kyle Busch, pole sitter. He has a side panner, also this roof cam, the Toyota camera. Really thankful for these teams allow us to ride on board all year long. Takes a little extra work over the weekend to get these cameras in there.
All right, Steve, what's at stake?
Well, it's simple, right? When you look at the points, 2 guys are locked in. That means 2 spots available, and it is not a must-win. Hamlin, Blaney, Larson, I can see a path where they gain enough points. Chase Elliott, it is a must-win. When it comes to points, every position on the racetrack is a point, and we have seen drivers willing to do whatever it takes. Back in 2014, in the closing laps, Kyle Larson racing Ryan Newman. Ryan Newman has to find a point. So in the last corner on the last lap, he says, you know what? Kyle Larson, you're my point, and I'm going to take it right here. Runs him up the racetrack. The 42 knows it's coming. Can do nothing about it. Ryan Newman gets that point and gets the advancement. Both drivers, when asked about it, they understood. They understand the situation they're in. That's the type of hard-nosed racing we're going to see today.
That's what's riding on today's race. 2 spots for the possibility of a dream coming true, winning a championship. Up front, the 18 of Kyle Busch has chosen the inside line. Joey Logano on the outside in the 22. The final race of the round of 8 is underway from Phoenix.
The pole sitter, Kyle Busch, already cutting that apron, not wanting to give anybody an advantage down into turn 1.
Way down on the apron, you see Kyle Larson in the 42, taking the short way around the racetrack. Denny Hamlin, 3rd right now.
Joey missed the corner just a little bit. Denny a little bit loose off of the final corner here to the flag stand.
Every position is a point. Denny Hamlin goes up using a little bit of the traction compound that's up there in turns 1 and 2.
Joey Logano closed in on the back bumper of the 18 of Kyle Busch, wanting that clean air, wanting that track position. These cars were last practicing on Friday. All they did yesterday was qualify, just a couple laps. These drivers have been sitting around 36 hours waiting for this, waiting to get back in their cars.
And a lot of pressure right there we saw out of Joey Logano right on the back bumper of the 18 of Kyle Busch.
Yeah, he's able to get within a car length, but then lost the nose a little bit, couldn't get the power down, pushed the 18 car away down the straightaway. Hamlin running that high line. He's just trying to find that clean air, get out from behind these guys, get a little clean air on the nose of that car, help that car keep turning, create a little speed down the straightaway, doing that as well.
Seemed to work well in 1 and 2, not as well in 3 and 4. We'll see what his options are here. We're on that low front bumper. He goes down low on entry, but lets it slide up a little bit. Middle of the racetrack, in the middle of the corner.
We talk a lot about that traction compound. They did not reapply any more of that last night, so what's out there was used a lot by the Xfinity cars. It's there now, but it could wear out and be less effective throughout the afternoon.
4 laps into this one, Marty.
Rick, right now the final 2 in for Miami are Kyle Busch and Joey Logano as we fall back to a battle between Chase Elliott and Martin Truex. And Kyle called this last week at Texas. He said, shocker, it's going to be a battle between the 18 and 22 for maybe the final spot to make it to Miami. Kyle told me before the race, I can do math up to about 10 spots, but I really don't want to know where the 22 is running until stage 3. That's when I'm worried about the math at that point, Dave.
And Marty, you heard Joey Logano's pre-race comments. We're just going to focus on what we are doing. I did ask him where his car was better because the ends of this racetrack are very different. He said, well, in the first few laps, my car is best in turns 1 and 2, but as the run goes on, it's really good down here in turns 3 and 4. And right now, you can see he's keeping pace very well with the 18 of Kyle Busch.
Great battle up front between those 3, but Chase Elliott, we saw he just took away 4th place from Martin Truex Jr., started 6th. We hadn't seen a lot of real speed comparable to the other guys in practice. But early in this race, looks like that 9 car's handling really well.
And Rick, while I'm not going to pretend, I would much rather be, say, the 18 or the 22 above the cut line as we see Denny Hamlin get to the outside of Joey Logano. It could be an advantage for the 9 to Chase Elliott, knowing you have to win, just because the path, while not very easy, is clear. They know what they have to do. Alan Gustafson on top of the pit box knows he can take whatever risk is needed to try to get his car near the front.
Denny gets up there to 2nd. He was able to take the spot away from Joey Logano.
Yeah, use that high side to be able to create speed. Look at how much faster he is through the middle of the corner. Up in that high lane, he's not even in the PJ1 traction compound. Just really has a fast car. Look again. He cannot follow this 18 car. It will not be fast being in the dirty air of that 18 car. He has to run higher, and he's able to make speed up there. That's impressive for that race car.
And Rick, the best way to understand the system is take a good look at the playoffs on the left side. The 19 and the 4 are in. The 18 is leading. The 22 plus 17. That's with Denny Hamlin not leading the race, not winning the race. If Denny Hamlin passes Kyle Busch, take a gander at the left side of the screen. It's going to completely change.
Everything changes. 5 drivers are separated by 25 points at the start of this race. Of course, with Kyle Busch out front, shows him as the leader. It will show him as into that championship 4. But if the 11 can catch him and get by him, it will show Denny Hamlin in, and one of either the 11 or, the 22 or 18 will be out of that championship 4. Marty?
Rick, we interviewed Denny Hamlin very early in Countdown to Green. I said at the time, you can feel kind of no nerves in the 11 camp, but as the race grew closer, you could tell Denny was getting a little bit nervous. He did have the best car in practice here throughout the day on Friday, especially in that final practice. So, Junior, how critical is this first run for Denny Hamlin with all the nerves, and understandably so, right, to prove it to himself, hey, we do indeed have the best car, and I can run with these leaders and win this race.
Yeah, I mean, he knows his car's good, but you can't help but get nervous as race time closes in. And now he's sitting there looking in the mirror at that 22 car, the guy that he has to catch. He's got another one out in front of him. He needs to beat his teammate, the 18 car. He wants to win this stage. He wants to win all the stages, maximize his opportunity to get points in stage 1 and stage 2. He's driving as hard as he possibly can right now to try to track down that leader.
My excitement grew all week because I knew the level of drivers and teams we had in our playoff 8. Currently, Kurt Busch, the only non-playoff driver in the top 9. The other 8 spots all taken, and right now Kevin Harvick pressuring the 1. We know they deserve to be here. That question should never be asked. They've run all year, but you always want the best to be here, and we have it this year with these 8 drivers.
As you mentioned, the best right now, all filling the top 9 spots.
That's a good look at that high line and a little bit of use of that traction compound. Hayes able to run down that straightaway and chase after that one car, close in. He follows him here in this corner, loses a little bit of speed in that dirty air behind that car.
The gap's still the same, 0.4 of a second separating the 18 and the 11. John Deere Gator brings you this 3-wide moment. It's going to be all day on restarts around turns 1 and 2. You're watching the Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs from ISM Raceway here in Avondale, Arizona. Let NASCAR Drive be your live race day companion. Follow your favorite drivers with our high-definition in-car cameras that Junior showed us earlier. Visit NASCAR.com/drive, or you can download the NASCAR mobile app today. Beautiful shot there of Rattlesnake Hill looking down on this racetrack, Kelly.
Yeah, and Chase Elliott already been able to pick up a couple of spots in spite of reporting that his race car is just a little bit too tight. And as Steve said, it's almost better. This team feels like being in a must-win situation than having to consider every single point. Crew Chief Alan Gustafson used a war analogy. He told me if we had to go out there and consider every point, it's kind of like being down in the trenches. We feel like we're more long-range missiles. And he said, so while our position isn't as favorable, Parker, he said, it's not as hostile.
Well, and for the 42 car of Kyle Larson, who started 5th and fell back to 6th, it's not as good a story for them. You know, he always talks about being one of the people that likes to move around the earliest, move his line around, find that groove that no one else is running in. But it was really Denny Hamlin up there at the front who was the first to go to the top, and his team was relaying that information to Kyle Larson, but he chose not to move that car up to a higher groove. Right now, just reporting that it's a little too loose in the center of the corners to be able to do that. They're not able to get up there and use that line he likes so much.
Everyone starts the season in February with the goal of winning races and trying to win a championship in Miami. The 4 of Kevin Harvick, this perhaps can be the most stressless race he's ever had. He did what he needed to do. He won last week at Texas. He has advanced. So you don't want to throw the race away. I think it's very important for this team to go out and kind of force execution. Make sure your team is ready for Miami. Not to forget that in 12 months' time, this will be the championship race. So Kevin Harvick in the 4 car, a driver that used to dominate Phoenix, has become a little more normal here. This is a good opportunity to come without pressure, try to improve on your race car.
And Steve, think of the mix of emotions they came in with here last year. Kevin Harvick, remember they had won at Texas but were penalized for a post-race infraction, came here without their crew chief and really had to fight from a down position. Kevin talked about that this week and talked about how it's one of the greatest highs in sports when everyone can think they've got you down. They're maybe even laughing at you, and you come back and you laugh at them. He made his way to Miami last year under big circumstances.
Yeah, Dave, and the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. really in the same boat. They won at Martinsville. They're guaranteed in the championship for Steve.
So much so that Cole Pern changed his at-track personnel this weekend. He left key members at home to prepare that Miami car. The car chief, once this car was put to inspection, he left Phoenix to get back to North Carolina, continue to work on that car. So when we talk about the advantage of locking in early, that's what we're talking about. What's the one thing you can't buy is time. And that's what the 19 did by winning at Martinsville.
Right now, Kyle Busch is up front. He has a 1.3 second lead over Denny Hamlin. Then it's Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr. Again, 26 laps complete now of the 75 laps of stage 1. At the end of stage 1, the top 10 will all receive points. That is good for most of the playoff drivers because they're inside the top 10. But what's bad is that all of the playoff drivers are inside the top 10, so they're not going to be gaining much on any of their competitors.
Yeah, it's hard to make up ground when everybody you're trying to outrun is right there next to you. This, I think, is when times get stressed for all the playoff guys as you catch lap traffic. We've seen it all year, both on Saturday in the Xfinity Series and Sunday in the Cup Series. These slower cars, they're doing the best they can, trying to run their race, get as many points as they can for their team. And at a track where the groove can be narrow, a lot of opportunity for mistake you have to work through to see Denny Hamlin working to the inside of lap traffic.
Again, Hamlin running in that second spot. Close the gap to inside of a second between Kyle Busch. That's the other thing about NASCAR that is unique in the sense that the playoffs are underway, and even though there are 8 in the round of 8 right now, they're racing against the other 31 that are on the racetrack. So there are 39 cars still out there on the racetrack, all wanting to have their best runs. But the 8 drivers that are in the playoffs fighting for 4 spots, they've got to negotiate around everybody.
Well, there's so many different storylines really on the racetrack. The playoff ones we're going to continue to talk about all day, but we have drivers that are ending their careers. We have drivers that are moving race teams. When you get to this point in the season, if you aren't one of the 8, you're working forward. Well, for, say, Paul Menard, the driver of the 21, he announced, you know what? Forward to me isn't in a NASCAR race car. I'm not going to run full seasons anymore. He didn't rule out driving something, but he's not going to be driving anymore in this 21 car.
Yeah. I asked him about what his plans were. What are you going to do after you leave NASCAR? He says, well, I'm still going to be competitive. I still want to race. He still wants to be a racer, and it'll just be at a different level. But he's also wanting to be a little more hands-on with the family business, which is Menards, which is the sponsor, which is on the side of his car and has been on a lot of cars throughout racing.
Right there. Passing the 37 of Chris Buescher. He's trying to finish up his agreement with JTG Racing. He won't be driving this 37 next year. He's going to move back to Roush Fenway, a place that he drove in the Xfinity Series. So, you know, you try to connect that. You start to try to connect some personnel. It was announced Luke Lambert will actually be leaving RCR, will be Chris Buescher's crew chief next year. So all of the personnel is starting to shift around.
And it'll be teammates, the guy right behind him, Ryan Newman in the 6. Still working around lap traffic. The 18 of Kyle Busch has been up front all 31 laps. 36 laps complete in stage 1 of NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs from ISM Raceway. Telecast presented by USAA. Beginning tonight, NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt will spotlight Veterans Day all week long with a special series, Those Who Serve, honoring veterans, highlighting veterans' service, their stories, and their sacrifice. Like the story behind a Georgia resident's search to find out more about the man he was named after, a soldier who went missing during the Vietnam War. Back on track, 37 laps complete now, and it's been all Kyle Busch. He has a little over a second lead over Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., all running up in the top 5. And our driver, who was just out on the racetrack moments ago with the Joyride for Jeff Burton, back up in the booth. And Jeff, what an honor, I guess it would be to be able to hang out with Sergeant Dakota Meyer.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, think about what that man did in service of his country, and it's it's just crazy with the courage and the bravery and then the humility of all that. It's an honor to have him ride with me.
They must have been watching because everybody decided to do the apron just like you did. So was it you that got everybody down there on the apron to start this race?
It was a teaching moment, Rick.
I thought so. Kyle Busch waving there as he was able to get by another one of the lap cars. Let's get a few updates. We'll start with Dave.
Well, the fact that Joey Logano's car is running third right now is okay in the playoff picture because the driver that's leading is okay as far as he's concerned. And the next time we show you the points on the left, you'll see that for now Logano is in. And that's a good thing because right now he doesn't need to be the fastest car on the racetrack, but to be, they're going to have to make some adjustments. It's kind of all over the board balance-wise, Kelly.
Right now, Kurt Busch in that #1 car, the highest running non-playoff driver. Now, he did win this season and qualified for the playoffs, but this team had their worst stretch of races at the worst time of the year, and they were eliminated prematurely. So crew chief Matt McCall told me these last 2 races simply present an opportunity to win 2 more races. Kurt Busch, running 7th, said he's a little bit too loose, especially in turns 1 and 4, but car is starting to tighten up a little bit, Bertie.
Kelly, how tough is a round of 8 in the NASCAR playoffs? Well, Ryan Blaney, who sits in 9th right now, has finished 5th and 8th in the 2 races so far in the round of 8. And they've lost points to the cut line, believe it or not. They come in here with a lot of confidence after finishing 3rd here in the spring. Car too tight for Blaney right now. But Jeremy Bollins told him a moment ago, listen, your lap times are outstanding. We're going to need some track positions to look for them to maybe make a little strategy play here on this first stop, Parker.
Well, Marty, his teammate Brad Keselowski runs 11th right now, and I think this is an interesting example of when we talk about teams helping other teams in the playoffs. This 2-car arrived at Phoenix with the exact same setup as his teammates in an effort to help them information-wise throughout practice. They relayed that to the 2 and the 22, just trying to help those cars have every advantage that they could. And for the 2-car, he just came across the radio and said, this is the best the car's been all weekend, and he's turning lap times. They're top 5 fastest right now.
We mentioned those 2 Penske drivers, and what a week it has been for Penske. I think everyone was shocked when the news came out that Roger Penske and his organization was going to purchase IndyCar and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
True earth-shattering when it comes to sports to hear that news. I mean, Indianapolis Motor Speedway is the most famous racetrack in the world. It is a cornerstone of American motorsports. No one has had more success there than Roger Penske, but winning on the track is one thing. Buying the track and the series is totally something else. And personally, I was very excited. I think the Holman family did an amazing job for almost 75 years running that facility, but knowing how passionate Roger Penske is about IndyCar racing at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, I can't imagine, but I know it's going to be wonderful for the series and the track.
Yeah, I went to the Indy 500 for the first time in my life this year, and the one word that I kept hearing and that I took away from was tradition. And knowing that Roger's in charge of that, it's going to stay.
Yeah, I think
it's in good hands.
Yeah, I think that what stuck out to me was the word stewardship. Right? It wasn't an acquisition. It was taking over the stewardship of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and what that means and what that racetrack means to the history of motorsports, not just in this country but worldwide. It is certainly in good hands.
Well, Steve, with 29 laps to go in stage 1, it looks as though everyone's running about the same speed. So does that put more pressure on the crews, the pit crews, because now if you can't get the spots on the racetrack, you're going to have to do something on pit road.
So, Rick, we talked about at the top of the show, you know, pressure is real. I had to hire tire changes in my whole life. I saw a lot of great tire changes in the parking lot that couldn't do it on Sunday at the racetrack. That was a regular Sunday. This isn't a regular Sunday.
Yeah.
This is a playoff Sunday. So it's going to be interesting to see what team can step up and perform when the pressure's the highest.
The pressure is at its highest, and right now Kyle Busch rising to it.
Grab an ice-cold Coke and buckle up. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
And Denny Hamlin currently running in the second spot, also having to negotiate through traffic to try to keep up with Kyle Busch.
We'll make it 3 wide right here in the middle.
Through the eye of the needle.
Doesn't have time to wait around.
Awesome job right there.
22 laps left on the stage, and he does not. He still has an opportunity, I think he believes, to maybe run down Kyle Busch. I feel like we're watching a boxing match at the beginning where they're just jabbing each other. The uppercuts are coming.
Oh, you think the deciding blow could happen?
Oh, it's definitely going to happen in late rounds.
Okay.
For sure.
Late round, good. Good to know.
All of our playoff drivers are all right in the top 8. Blaney's moved up a little bit from his qualifying position to take over that 8th spot.
Denny Hamlin all the way below the yellow line on the apron, and it looks as though maybe a little bit harder to get by the 21 here of Paul Menard for Kyle Busch.
Yeah, Paul Menard's been putting up a good fight, and that's letting Denny Hamlin run him down. Denny's won that fight to continue. This middle groove's working pretty well, though, Junior. Right here, Kyle Busch drives on the outside. Not going up in that traction compound. A little bit right there, but doesn't have to rely on it. The middle of the racetrack has some pretty good grip.
Yeah, he had a run on the Menard there down the front straightaway and decided to use that high side because that bottom was not working. It's going to be hard to make passes on the bottom today, especially down in 1 and 2 with that traction compounds out there to help that outside groove. Marty.
Well, Junior, Kyle Busch picked a good day to have a good day yesterday, getting his first pole of 2019 in the next to last race of the year. But all summer and fall, all anyone's want to talk about with Kyle Busch is the winless streak. Now 20 races. Pocono in June, the last time they visited Victory Lane. Talked to Adam Stevens about that earlier today, and he said, listen, if there was a win button I could push, I would have done it by now. But you have to remember, back in 2016 and 17, we went almost a calendar year without a win. We learned a lot about ourselves during that process. Number one, don't panic. As long as you have winning speed, it eventually will come to fruition. And Kyle Busch could end that winless streak in the best way and punch his ticket to Miami. So, Steve, sometimes as a team leader, to Adam Stevens' point, it's all about perspective when you go through a winless streak like this.
It's very easy to lead while winning. It's much more difficult to lead while losing. And what Adam Stevens is trying to do is to keep the ship heading in the right direction. I agree with him. I think the 18 does have winning speed. So you just have to continue to run up front, and then the win should come to you.
It's a good battle right here between Kevin Harvick, Kyle Larson. Kevin Harvick starting to work that outside lane up here in 1 and 2. Kyle Larson says, all right, you're going to do that. I'm going to take it away from you. Think about Kevin Harvick, how many races he's won on this racetrack on that yellow line. But today, with the way the racetrack is, he's having to search around and look for something different.
9 times Kevin Harvick has won here at ISM Raceway.
Yeah, 42 missed the corner down there. I saw you see that, Jeff.
Yeah, he did.
So 42 got down in the corner a little too hot, not to the bottom. Harvick able to roll that bottom, close that gap up a little bit. Now Harvick, it's like, oh, okay, you ain't going to the top. I'll go up here.
But it's a guessing game. Harvick thought he was going to the top, and so he went to the bottom, and he's like, oh, I got to go to the top.
Yep, kind of got to wait on that driver ahead of you to make that choice at the top or the bottom for you. Try to take, oh, man, Harvick getting down in the corner. Deep there, hard on the brakes, backed it up. Thought he might have overdrove the entry a little bit there.
That tells me Harvick's car is a little better right now. I think he's better than Larson, just had a tough time getting by him.
Yeah, the way he kind of shot into 1 or 3 there, I thought he was going to shift up the racetrack, but right on the bottom.
It's still all 18 with 14 to go as we go NASCAR nonstop.
I'll have to bring it to me now, huh? Mark.
Caution has come out under 9 laps to go in stage 1. And Steve, now what do you do? What strategy do you play here?
I'm thankful I'm up here. I don't know. Here's the situation. You see Ricky Stenhouse Jr. bring his car to pit road. Sparks flying. Obviously either a flat tire or a mechanical issue. Looks like the right front's down. Car just goes straight up the banking. Yeah, obviously has no control. Something is broke on this 17 car. So here's the situation. We are going to have a sprint. Under probably 6 laps to go to the end of the stage. To be good, you need to come get tires. The question is, will someone gamble? I don't think you can hold them off. I think everyone has to come to pit road, but do you take 2 tires? That's the right call maybe to run good in this stage. That's not the right call to try to win the race. Decision time for the playoff drivers. They're currently running 1 through 8 already.
So now Denny Hamlin, who's currently second.
What I find interesting is, what does Blaney, what does he think right now? Does his team think they can point their way in, or do they need to just get off sequence? Also, Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex Jr., what do they have to lose? They ought to try to maybe get off sequence and do something different.
Well, so that's what you're going to have to figure out right now is what strategy is good for you and what is everyone else going to do. I think Truex and Harvick will absolutely take 4 tires. So what are all the other playoff guys going to do?
Yeah, we saw the lead close up just a little bit there. Kyle Busch having some challenging situations with some lap cars under J.J. Yaley here down the back straightaway. A little contact with the door there. Light contact, no real issue there cosmetic-wise, but it's not easy, even for the leader here. So he's lapping a ton of race cars there before this caution come out.
There's only 18 cars in the lead lap.
He's just fast. Both him and his teammate Denny Hamlin.
What this is also going to do is put a lot of cars back on the lead lap because everybody 1 lap down should stay on the racetrack.
Right.
Decision time right here. Who comes and who stays out? Right now, everyone in the top 5 has come. And it looks like he's going to pull all the lead lap cars to pit road, Kelly.
Chase Elliott has the first pit stall as you come to pit road. He said he was just losing lateral grip and needed more center turn. They're making a chassis adjustment, 4 Goodyear tires, and Sunoco fuel for Chase Elliott.
By the end of that run, Joey Logano's Ford was losing the front end grip. He's going to need at least 2 Goodyear tires, probably 4. Looks like they're going to go 4, and a little Sunoco fuel to the end of this stage, Marty.
Denny Hamlin said he was loose on entry and loose on exit. Same for teammate Kyle Busch right below. A little long on the right rear there for Denny Hamlin, his race team. You see the wedge adjustment for him. Hamlin said the car in the last 20 laps kind of fell off. You did see that contact a moment ago. We replayed that with Kyle Busch in the lap car. They said they wanted to make sure that right front fender was fine. Kyle said he needed the car to stay with him longer, Rick.
Race off pit road brought to you by Kroger. Kyle Busch holds his serve in the Bluegreen Vacations 500. Wednesday night hockey on NBCSN at 7:30 Eastern. The Capitals bring the NHL's best record into Philadelphia to face the Flyers. Then at 10 p.m., Blackhawks battle the Golden Knights in Vegas.
So we cover a lot about the playoffs because it's all about the championship. Everyone who made the playoffs that gets knocked out still is trying to battle for points, and I think that's the strategy call here. This is why they're doing it. I say that because Brad Keselowski and William Byron stayed on the racetrack on old tires. Brad is the leader. He chose the outside lane. So, Jeff, you talk about restarts being crazy. Well, now you put 2 cars on old tires at the front, and it gets even more stressful.
It's going to be interesting who can take advantage of this. Denny Hamlin was beaten off pit road by Kyle Busch, but maybe that outside line coming out in second, maybe that could actually be an advantage here. We'll see. Yesterday in the Xfinity race, the outside was way better on restarts.
Plus, Brad's the control car on the outside. He gets a launch on that 24, easily clearing Byron.
There's Kyle Busch trying to get underneath, but look at that 11 car, Denny Hamlin.
4 wide as they come into turn 1.
Oh, Denny looks like he missed the corner a little bit. Not sure he wants to be up that high, but it's going to work for him.
Yeah, I think he actually went up there. Saw that in yesterday's Xfinity race, guys using that high line.
Look at the position being lost by the 18.
For the lead, Denny Hamlin trying to take it away, trying to get the most points he could possibly get.
This is huge right here. This could put you in front. This could be the difference between having a chance to win this race. I know it's early, but this is huge.
Behind Denny, the 22, desperately trying to get every spot he can. Try to minimize the gain on that 11 car while 11's out there out front.
Look at the points. Joey Logano currently out of the championship 4 because Denny Hamlin is out front.
Right now, Denny Hamlin controls this race, and Kyle Busch has lost 2 spots. Went from being the leader to running in 4th right now.
Those points are if they finish the race this way. That's with stage 1, stage 2 points, as well as the finish of the event. So Joey sitting there looking. He's on the outside of 2 cars here. There's 2 positions for the 22 down the back straightaway, 3 wide.
Kyle Larson on his
Kyle
inside.
Larson dove it down in there.
Fighting for position. It's going to be Denny Hamlin who will win stage 1. And a fight for every spot. As they came to the finish line of stage 1, it was Hamlin, Chase Elliott,
Denny Hamlin.
Kyle Busch finishing 3rd, Logano, Larson in 5th, Keselowski, Blaney, William Byron, Kevin Harvick, and Kurt Busch rounding out the top 10. Coming in, he knew it could be a career-changing day for Denny Hamlin. Well, what does he do? He goes out and he wins stage 1 at ISM Raceway. He's 1 step closer to making the championship 4. NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Perfect for race fans. Coca-Cola. Share a Coke this season. Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Untuckit.com. And by Arby's. We have the meats. Well, Veterans Day is tomorrow. Take a look at some of the military moments here at the track, brought to you by USAA. So proud to have so many men and women in the service with us here at the racetrack, but also I want to say thank you to all of the service members across the country and around the world. Pit road is open, and since the caution came so late in stage 1, a lot of drivers are going to stay out, but we'll see a few make their way onto pit road now.
Yeah, you're going to see Brad Keselowski and the 24 of William Byron, who didn't pit. They will come now. And at the back of the field, there's going to be a whole wave of cars because that actually allowed about 10 cars to get back on the lead lap, Parker.
Right, and Brad Keselowski came across the radio just before that caution came out that allowed him to take the lead. As I said, he was very happy with the balance of the race car, so it's going to be 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel, maybe tighten it up a little bit with an air pressure adjustment on the 2. Also staying out there was William Byron, the 24 car, same objective, was very happy, had passed a lot of cars on the run before that. It'll be 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel for William Byron as well.
End of stage 1, and pit stops taking place now. You look at the points. Denny Hamlin got the most you can get in the stage, finishing first. A lot of playoff drivers in the top 10. Getting ready to start stage 2 of NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs from ISM Raceway. Telecast presented by USAA. Hey, Rod, where are you? Presented by Toyota.
Rick, I'm down here at the 18 pit box with the Special Olympian Kelly Orzechowski. He's here with his dad, Al. I want you to take a look at his amazing die-cast collection. He's been collecting these for years. He's got over 12,000 of these things. You can see he's a big Rowdy fan, but he also got the chance to meet Martin Truex Jr. earlier today. He and his dad did. So, Kelly, I got to ask, what is your favorite racetrack to go to?
Talladega.
Talladega, and I heard you like Phoenix too. You like coming here. Do you have a favorite for the championship?
Yeah, Martin Truex Jr.
Martin Truex Jr. How cool is that? And Al, you feel the same way?
MIS, Martin Truex all the way.
All the way. Got a couple of Truex fans hanging here at the A team. How cool is this? Special Olympian Kelly Orzechowski.
Thanks, Rod. That is awesome. And the field approaching. The Geico restart zone. Hamlin, Elliott's up front. We're going to listen into the 22 radio.
Well played with you. They're cutting it a little bit too off your left horse. Check the outside from the 12 there. There you go. You'll have 2 inside there if you get up there. 2 inside. 1 inside the 18 on the line. All right, just the 9 now if you can get to him. By himself, you're pulling him. Bumper, you are clear. Hit your marks. Don't overdrive it here.
Joey Logano leading at ISM Raceway, and now Joey Logano is back into the championship four. It happens just that fast. Joey Logano, who was outside of the top 4, now leading here at ISM Raceway, and he's back into the championship four.
Denny Hamlin is taking control of this race. That was huge to lead. And now all the way back, battling Blaney for 5th.
Wild restart down on the apron through the tribal. Chase Elliott trying to keep that 18 car Kyle Busch behind him, and Kyle ended up deciding to push the 9 car out into the lead, but entering low and shallow into turn 1, wasn't able to keep that momentum, get that car turned. The 22 on the high side whipped around the top with a lot of speed and momentum and grip. Able to take the lead. Take a look at it.
It's a big restart because we see how important track position is. Everybody launches really well.
Watch the 9 car though down there.
Yeah, he just drives away, but the 11 just didn't get a good launch because the 22 was able to jump on the outside of him.
The 9 enters so low, he slides up, has to lift, not in the gas, chasing the back of the car. Couldn't get off the corner as well.
Now Joey Logano, I got control of this race. Marty.
Terrific restart a moment ago for Denny Hamlin, but not that one to start stage 2. He said the car jerks so bad, sometimes that's a fuel mapping that they'll have in the car, Steve, because of the way they want to run the car. But he said at part throttle, the car jerks so bad, that's why he got such a poor restart. Hamlin going from the lead back to 5th.
So the mapping that Marty is referring to is with this fuel injection, you can decide how much spark and how much fuel at different RPMs and different area of the engine, and you try to be efficient for both fuel mileage and power. And on restarts, you can get in these very odd situations, right, of acceleration, of percentage of throttle with a low RPM, and the engine just gets a little freaked out or doesn't have enough fuel to run smoothly.
But they can't change that now. They can't change that in the middle of the race.
Nope, they have to live with it. So whatever Denny Hamlin did right there, he's going to have a discussion, and perhaps maybe there's something inside the seat, keep the RPMs a little higher. The engine guys can look at and say, hey, this is what we think will help you.
Take an opportunity to ride along.
You can hear it. It's like, cutting out.
3 lanes between, 1 inside, outside.
Look at what it created. Put him 3 wide, getting into turn 1, and now
here's on the roof, the 18 car. Watch the 9. 18's going to try to get lower. 9's going to go
1 off your lane.
There's the 9 a little bit sideways right there.
Here comes Joey.
3 box.
But that right there, I mean, that was a big moment in this race. Denny Hamlin went from controlling the race. Remember Martinsville? He was leading the race, had a bad pit stop, gave it up to Martin Truex Jr., never saw it again. Now he's in a battle with Blaney. Let's talk about Blaney. He was 8th when that caution came out, and now he's all the way driven up to 4th place, Marty.
And Jeff, to the point Steve made a moment ago, they reminded Denny, well, it worked the time before that. They got a terrific restart. They were able to win stage 1, so something they can do differently behind the wheel. Whatever happened last time, don't do that.
And we've seen Denny Hamlin fight his way up to the front, and as you mentioned, won stage 1. So now he runs in the 4th position. He's going to try to get around Kyle Busch again. He couldn't do it in stage 1 on the racetrack. We'll see if he's able to do it now as he fights for every position and every point.
Rick, I'm going to tell you right now, though, Denny Hamlin is flying. The lap times he is running the last 2 laps, he ran the fastest or second fastest lap on the racetrack with a pass. That is so difficult to do. Look at the gap he's already put on Blaney, running down the 18 of Kyle Busch and the 9 of Chase Elliott. Kelly.
And Chase, who needs to win this race, has been pretty much smooth sailing for this team so far, but there might be cause for concern. Listen to what Chase told his team during that last stage break.
I'll have your power steering stuff ready if something feels weird. It's not that I've lost any assist, but it's like it's just not smooth.
All right, so he said it didn't matter if the RPMs were low or high. The team started prepping, making sure they have everything ready. But, Steve, we've seen power steering issues for this team before. How big of a deal could this be for the team?
Oh, it made my stomach feel bad sitting up here. The 9 and the 48 both had power steering issues at New Hampshire. That really surprised me because this track is a lot like New Hampshire, so you would have thought that's something they would have addressed. I'm not exactly sure what it was there. It was some sort of issue with the pump itself is what I was told, but it sounds like Chase Elliott is obviously feeling something. That is not a quick fix, Riggs. If you have a power steering issue, even under yellow, I expect the 9 to lose a lap. And look behind him, the 11 of Denny Hamlin. You guys mentioned the bad restart. Making up for it, he's going to try to pass the 18 to the 3rd position.
Be a tough pass right here. We've seen that middle work. Denny Hamlin crowding him up. Kind of didn't give Kyle much choice right there.
Yeah, Denny been running the top down in 1 and 2, gaining a lot of speed, and then we saw Kyle go up into the top groove trying to take his line away, so teammates not really out there trying to help each other out too much, racing each other pretty hard, Marty.
Chris Gabehart coaching his driver, saying, hey, man, don't worry about that restart. We got to play the ball from where it lies, using a golf reference for the famous golfer Denny Hamlin, who loves to play golf in his spare time. He said, but I need every ounce from you right now. The 22 got biased in that transaction on the restart. I need everything you got to get back up there.
This is a key moment, I think, guys. Denny Hamlin, remember, Denny Hamlin spun that car out last week, got themselves in this position. Now he just got a bad restart. All those things start to add up in your brain. You got to put them out of it. You got to focus on the task at hand. That coaching from Gabehart, that's awesome. Coming for your crew chief, man. You're the guy. Go make it happen. I love that communication because, you know, when things start going bad, they seem to continue, and you got to be the one to stop it.
Yeah, I think that when you give a driver a car like this, it gives him the confidence. Denny Hamlin needs a great race car. He's got that car today.
We saw the swagger, though, even after the mistake at Texas. He didn't hide from it, right? I made a mistake. I'm going to go to New Phoenix. If it takes a win, Rick, we're going to win.
Cup Series playoffs from ISM Raceway, Avondale, Arizona. Our Aero coverage presented by Coca-Cola. Beautiful day for racing in the desert as Logano is now one up front in front of this sold-out crowd here at ISM Raceway. Chase Elliott running second, but he has a mirror full of Denny Hamlin right now. Hamlin has been the fastest car on the racetrack over and over and over, lap after lap. but Logano is trying to put some distance between himself and second right now of Chase Elliott. There is the 11 catching the 9.
He's much faster than Chase Elliott, just having so much trouble behind the 9 car in dirty air. He gets these great runs, but gets right up about a car length away and just completely loses the race car. He's going to have to find him in a compromised situation in traffic or something to be able to get alongside.
Running down below the yellow line on the apron through 1 and 2. Everything's legal here at ISM Raceway. It doesn't matter if there's asphalt, you can run on it.
What's hurting Denny Hamlin right now is that he cannot enter turn 3 higher, because every time he does, he loses the back of the car. I've watched him several laps just not be able to drive into turn 3 on that outside and get away from that wake of the 9 car. So he tried it once and it didn't work, and now he's gotten afraid to try it again because he almost wrecked. So here he goes. He's just having to enter a little bit lower than I think he really wants to get the arc into turn 1, into turn 3. And that's just hurting the center of the corner.
You're quite a bit faster than the 22. You will get there.
As we watch this battle right here between the 11 and the 9, another battle, the 6 of Ryan Newman, the 95 of Matt DiBenedetto. Two guys that I think have had great years. Matty D's announced that he is no longer going to be in the 95 next year. Moving on, he's going to actually take over the 21 from Paul Menard. 6 of Ryan Newman, his first year at Roush Fenway. And guys, I really think he has improved their company. He got the car in the playoffs. Neither won a race. We thought that 95 had a chance to win Bristol, Dave.
And Steve, a very happy driver since the restart after the stage. And he radioed his crew. He said, big change. I can free roll the center now. Much better exit on both ends. So the swing they took was correct, and the driver's using it.
Matt DiBenedetto, Steve, you mentioned he's been fast all weekend. He was great on 5, 10, 15 lap averages, up in the top 10, top 5 of some of the practices we had this weekend. Really interested to see how his car would race, because it seemed like he had the speed some of the Gibbs cars that they had an alliance with had this weekend.
And Ryan Newman, you mentioned bringing the organization up. He was able to make the playoffs. He didn't get out of the round of 16, but he was in the playoffs, and that's a lot better than what we've seen out of Roush Fenway Racing over the past couple of years.
They basically improved almost 10 positions from where this car was running last year, and he did. He made the playoffs and took a spot from somebody. You know what I'm saying? He went up there and made it happen. Pretty impressive this year.
That grit, determination, what Roush Fenway needed a little bit, right? Needed a little bit of that hard-headed, this is my spot, you're not going to take it from me. The cars really haven't had the speed, so you're going to have a guy like that. He's been a huge improvement. And now they've made another change next year, and see, you got new crew chief coming in, new driver coming in, looking for some answers.
While all of that change taking place, you have Joey Logano, who's trying to keep things the same. And he won a championship a year ago, now is out front. We want to invite you to share a Coke as we go nonstop, brought to you by Coca-Cola. Logano, 2 wins already this season, but it seems like he was hit or miss coming into this weekend.
So we go back a year, and it was the big three, and Logano had the famous quote, well, it's the big 3 and me. And then he went to Miami, and he proved that he deserved to be the champion. Comes back in 2019 as the champion and strikes early. 3rd race of the year, wins at Las Vegas. You think, oh, here it goes, this 22 is going to be good. And then you mentioned the hit or miss. Good runs, running well, just not winning. And then they come back and they win Michigan, Dave, and then they just kind of go quiet the second half of the year.
This morning, Steve, Joey and I got on the subject of hockey because he took his team to the local Coyotes game last night, shared a Coke with them in a good game. And I asked him, did you ever play? He goes, yeah, I played hockey up in Connecticut till I was about 12 years old. I said, any good? He goes, no stick skills, but I could skate. He said the biggest deal was that my dad told me, if you're not in the penalty box, you're not trying hard enough. So he gave me an incentive. Every time I'd be in the penalty box, $5. To a kid, that's big money. And right there at the end of stage 1, remember, he went from 7th to 4th on the final lap. That was scrappy, got him some points, and then went from 4th to 1st on the restart. So there's a scrappy driver who used to be a scrappy player.
I'll tell you what I like about Joey Logano, what they've done this weekend. They've not been good at this racetrack. They've not run very well here over the last several years. But when the playoffs are here and the time is to step up, here they are. Here he is in position leading this race. I love step-up moments when a guy can take it and just run with it, make something happen.
If my parents gave me $5 every time I got in trouble, I'd be rich. Much as I was in the penalty box.
You think Joey Logano would learn to fight if he was in the penalty box that many times? Because we've got Kyle Larson. And Larson running up in the top 6 position right now. Parker?
Right, and he's run their majority of this race. Just started to turn lap times that are top 5 fastest. But for the fans of Kyle Larson out there, don't sleep on him. I know this doesn't look great in the position they are points-wise. They get to Miami, but he assured everyone that he kind of called this. He said, I probably have a 5th to 7th place car going to this race, but back in 2017, when I almost won this race, I had a very similar car, and it got better and better throughout the day. And he just most recently came on the radio and said, the adjustments are working. We are getting better. So things are on the up for the 42 car.
That's exactly what you want to hear over the radio. Things are getting better. As we take a look at the Coca-Cola driver update, Logano, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, 1, 3, and 6. Newman just outside the top 10 in 14th. Suarez is 18th. Austin Dillon 23rd, and Bubba Wallace 29th. Bubba Wallace in the news this weekend for the penalty that he received after admitting that he spun intentionally last week. Penalty didn't come until yesterday, and so a lot of people were wondering why so late, but it was the fact that Bubba Wallace actually admitted that he brought a caution out intentionally.
That's what NASCAR said. Scott Miller, when he addressed it, was very clear that, you know, they are going to penalize drivers if they are, without a doubt, they know that the drivers have done it on purpose, but that, without a doubt, is very difficult to prove. Even with the data, you know, there's a lot of question of intent. Did he mean to do it? But when the driver says, yes, I did it, Miller said, well, that was very simple. There was no more doubt about what happened.
If you're ever going to fine or penalize a driver, it's hard not to if they admitted to doing it. It put NASCAR in a spot where they had no choice. And you got to send a message also. It's not only just for this series, but Xfinity Series, Truck Series, all those series. That message got sent.
Logano out front. Chase Elliott running in the 2nd position. NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by USAA. Let's thank our veterans. Join us at USAA.com/Veterans Day. USAA partnered with Navy veteran and NASCAR driver Jesse Awuji to host military veterans throughout the Veterans Day weekend, giving them an up-close experience with the NASCAR family. USAA thanks all current and former military for their service and invites you to share your appreciation by drawing a V on your hand with the initials of a veteran that you like to celebrate. Snap a photo and post it to social media with the hashtag #HonorThroughAction. USAA. What you're made of, we're made for. everyone racing for next weekend, and you can see history made in person. All 3 NASCAR champions are going to be crowned when the 2019 season concludes in Miami. Visit NASCAR.com/tickets to purchase your tickets today. A good show right here. Denny Hamlin still trying to get by the 9 of Chase Elliott.
He caught Chase in a pretty tough situation with some traffic, and it's going to continue. Chase starting to lap some more cars here, and Denny right here trying to get underneath this 9 car, but Chase is going to try to take that bottom groove to be able to take the preferred line into 3 and 4 here. Chase showing some aggression to try to maintain the position. He doesn't want to give it away.
When does Denny decide to get aggressive and move him out of the way? Because he knows he's faster.
Well, I just don't know if he can get to the back bumper.
Yeah,
it's just so hard for those guys to get close enough to each other with this arrow on these short tracks.
What helped him was over here in 1 and 2, he was able to run really high, really high. Right now there's lap traffic there and he can't go there, but he was so high I thought he was wrecking a few laps ago, but he hasn't been able to get back there because of lap traffic. So as soon as they get clear, let's watch and see if Denny Hamlin, what he does over in 1 and 2. Not many choices over here. He hasn't been able to make the middle work. He's tried it, and it just does not make enough grip for his car. So let's see what he does down here. This is where he made up all the ground.
All the while, he closed the gap on Joey Logano quite a bit.
Yeah, that 22
he was
is
way out front.
Yeah, he's in the screen again.
Yeah. Joey's had to go through the same lap traffic, and it's cost him a little bit. You know, it just depends on how they catch these guys. And if you catch them on corner exit, it kills the lap because you can't open up the throttle and get down the next straightaway. I mean, it'll cost you 3 to 4 tenths.
Watch Denny Hamlin right here. You saw in 1 and 2, he lost a little bit of ground. Now watch where he goes. See how much higher he enters the corner? All the way up in the traction control compound. Now trying to leave corner exit high, and that's where he gets momentum. Look at that gain down the front straightaway he's getting. You just got to keep chipping away at it, chipping away at it. You're not going to get a car length. You're going to get inches and inches.
Then you lose it all when you get close to him. It's so frustrating.
He's got to clear this 88 quick. He's got to get by Bowman quickly. There's only 20 laps left to go in this stage.
Bowman's going to take the preferred line that Denny wants to run, but Denny, look at him close in, but the momentum's on the high side on corner exit. You see the 9 car throttle up to drive off down the back straightaway.
Watch how early Denny turns into turn 3. Just has to get to that yellow line. Didn't get to the yellow line, and look what it does to him. Just loses on corner exit. His car just does not drive the way it needs to in 3 and 4, Kelly.
Yeah, it's spotter Eddie DeHaan, spotter 4 Chase Elliott is observing the same things you are. Listen to what he told Chase a minute ago.
The only time the 11 can outpace you is that top run off the corner down into this corner. Then he can't do anything else.
And besides that, he said, look, you're going to catch that 22. You and the 11 are both better than Joey Logano cutting through this traffic. Marty?
Kelly, I go back to what Chris Gabehart told Denny Hamlin before the race. We're going to be in attack mode all day long. Well, it's hard to attack when you don't know what the guy in front of you is going to do. Chase Elliott doing an excellent job of mixing up his lines in turn 3 and 4. That's the line Denny Hamlin wants, that higher line. To Eddie DeHaan's point, he gets a terrific run off the corner, does the 11. But when Chase Elliott mixes it up, it's hard to know what direction you're going in.
I think the opportunity for Denny is now the 9 has caught the 22, so the 9 has to think about Arrow, how to get get around this 22 car, not only catch him, but where to pass him. So the 9 now has to change the line that he was running. He cannot follow this 22 car. That presents more opportunity for Denny to be able to get runs on the 9. He's got a great run here.
Great launch off of 2. Going to try to turn a little bit earlier than the 9, try to get him in a position where he can't turn. Denny missed the bottom, though. Oh, it's close. Yeah, just Denny's going to have to get a little more discipline getting down into turn 3 and get that left side tire on that yellow line. His car drives bad down there. There's no doubt about it. I say bad.
Yeah.
You know, he's better than the 10th place car, but he's not like he wants it to be.
He's way down on the apron. Some guys using all 4 tires down on the apron, just trying to get way away from the air coming off the back of the 52 and the 9 as they're running side by side.
See right there where he hooked that line? Now it enables him to leave all the way lower. And look what he did to the 9.
Gonna cut the corner here, try to gain a few more feet. He saw he had a little momentum off the corner.
There you go. That's what it's going to have to take. He's going to have
Oh,
to.
he went to the top and so did the 9. Now the 9's going to yard him off the corner just a little bit here.
He is, but I think Denny Hamlin learned something right there. I think he saw how much that helped him down here. Let's see what he's able to do. Of course, the 9's going to take that line away because of the lap traffic. There you you go. Paint that line. You're not going to miss a thing right here. We're going to go nonstop so you can watch all this action.
Nine laps to go in stage 2. NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs from ISM Raceway. Telecast presented by USAA. Sunday night football on NBC. Kirk Cousins and the Vikings are going to visit Dak Prescott and the division-leading Cowboys. That coverage beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern with Football Night in America only on NBC. The Vikings 6-3. All of their losses on the road. Trailing the Packers by 1 game in NFC Central. Dave.
Rick, we saw the second and third place drivers moving in on Joey Logano. The gap is now less than a second to Logano, and different than the first couple of runs for the 22 car, his car is free into the corner. Junior and Jeff, what's it like to try to control your car when it's loose in?
Well, the back's trying to come around, and that's even worse when you're trying to slow the car down and use the brake pedal. A lot of times you have to back the corner up. You can't get in as good and as fast. It costs you a lot of time trying to slow the car down to the bottom and be comfortable. You just try to give up the entry to maximize the exit of the corner.
That's what he's Elliott. I want to know that. Right? I'm hoping my spotter was listening and he heard that he's loose on entry, because if he ever can get to that rear bumper and just not touch him, but just get all over the back of that car, maybe arrow-wise he can make him even looser on corner entry. But he just can't seem to get there. See Denny Hamlin.
There he goes to the top of 1 and 2 or 3 and 4. I was wondering how that might work this late into the run.
Oh, it helped. Look at that. That's the first time he's been able to do it without being too loose, and look how much it gained him.
Huge run. I can't wait to get back over there. Try that again.
Underneath the 9, but Chase is going to get a good bite off the corner. Just can't pull it off right there.
Let's see what Denny does down here.
Oh, he's going to the top. You know he's going back. There you go.
Chase saw it. Chase says, I'm going to do it.
But still, it was still better for Hamlin. Look how much closer he is to him. Now it's going to hang a left, go on that apron. Look at the ground it gains. The problem is you can't judge where you are. Almost contact right there.
There was.
It's so hard to judge where you are in it, Junior. When you drive on that apron, you don't really know where that 9 car is. It's hard to get close to him. Now Denny to the bottom. Look how far he drove in the corner. Hoping to hear clear. Just
Fine
take
job.
it.
Yeah, you got him.
Inside now, inside.
Oh, a little bit more contact down the front straightaway.
Got 3 to go at the end of this stage. That's advantage Denny, though. Now he's got that outside lane. Now
another.
9's going to slide him and take it away. Oh, that's good racing.
How about that?
Here we go.
These guys have had a pass, not only in Martinsville, which a lot of people think about, but here, had a couple run-ins at this track and trading more paint today. Look here, coming off a 4. Denny was really good to him there.
So the back of the car, the 11 car wiggled just a little bit.
Oh, more contact.
Oh, lap car.
Yep.
Now Denny's mad. Denny's like, hey, that was my spot. I was using that car as a pick, and you didn't let me do it. Now, back to the back straightaway. Now, Denny, what's he going to do? I say he's going to go back to the top. Fake to the bottom. Now go to the top. I like that. He showed it to him. Showed it like he wanted the inside, but really all the time wanted the outside.
Chase is just basically taking his air every chance he can. See what happens down here. Oh, the 11's up. Yeah, 11's got the position now. Chase back trying to get to that quarter panel.
Chase doesn't think he's got it. He's not done fighting. Now Denny's got to clear this lap car. Denny Hamlin, great job. That was fun racing. I like that Denny Hamlin showed the 9 his nose, right? Turned left down the straightaway, made him think he wanted the bottom. Chase went to the middle, Denny went to the top, took the spot. That was smart racing by Denny Hamlin.
Logano gets the win in stage 2, but the battle was really for that second spot. Denny Hamlin bests Chase Elliott. Then it was Kyle Busch in 4th. Ryan Blaney was 5th. Martin Truex Jr., Kevin Harvick, Kyle Larson, Keselowski, Kurt Busch all rounding up in the top 10. And it got a little physical. Chase Elliott's Denny Hamlin trading a little paint, as a matter of fact, here at ISM Raceway. That fight for second won by Hamlin. Logano wins the stage. NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Perfect for race fans. And by Applebee's. Veterans and active military members eat free this Veterans Day, November 11th. Rutledge.
Rick, I tell you what, it's a beautiful Veterans Day weekend here on Rattlesnake Hill. My friends are just hanging out over here no matter where they are. Oh, they even made signs for Hi Mom. How cool is that under there? But guys, I'm wondering, you know, the fans are already talking about how excited they are that this is going to be the championship race next year. We've seen all the campers here. Fans are already making their plans. For Dale and Steve, I wonder, are teams making their plans for next year? Meaning, are they looking at this race differently, taking different notes than they have in the past since they know it's going to be a championship year?
Well, I think some teams are. Now, the playoff drivers, they're totally consumed about what we have going on. But the guys that aren't racing for Miami, I think they're absolutely looking ahead to next year. Kelly?
Chase Elliott making his pit stop. He said he had to work harder to get the back end of the car to swing around because he was just too tight, so they're going to make a track bar adjustment. You see it there. He also told him to watch for right side fender damage because he had some contact there with the 11. 4 tires and fuel, Dave.
Joey Logano took the lead on track. Now he's counting on his pit crew to keep him there. 4 Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel, air pressure adjustment to help that corner entry, Marty.
Denny Hamlin said we're definitely better on that run. Short run, we're really good. A little bit too tight on the long run. He said traffic is tough, man. Kyle Busch's teammate right below him said, you put anything in front of me, I'm terrible. Much tighter on the 18 car with rubber on the racetrack. Joey Logano holds serve here on pit road, Rick.
Top 2 keeping their position. Kyle Busch gains 1 in that number 1 spot. Chase Elliott loses 1.
Ox don't care if it's hard work. The new OX400 from Tracker. With a 1,200-pound towing capacity, it can handle the workload day in and day out. Available now at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's.
Well, we've seen track position, how much it matters and where you want to be on the restart. Chase Elliott launches out of his pit. Look where he is. He's going to come out. He's going to probably be 3rd. He just wants to be in that outside lane. He's got a race going on, and he just stops to make sure that he is behind that 18 car, giving him the outside line. We're going to see that all day, I think, guys. We've seen that outside be better than the inside lane. Chase Elliott working hard to be there.
Well, we know the restarts are crazy. We've already seen it be 4, 5, sometimes 6 wide as they come through that dog leg and get ready to funnel into turn 1.
Getting to 4 or 5 wide is one thing. It's getting back to 1 or 2, maybe 3 wide for the corner that seems to be the most nerve-wracking part.
These are the type of things that drivers are paying attention to now and even thinking about toward next year with the playoff, with the championship round here at Phoenix. Guys are starting to really understand and study where they want to be on all these restarts, play these games on pit road.
So, Jeff, you talked about the 9 wanted to be on the outside. Well, let's go back, a restart to go. He will line up where the 22 is right here. That's where the 9 will be on this restart. You see the 22 get to the outside of the 11, carry the momentum into the corner. Chase has that really bad angle in. The outside lane was the preferred lane, not only through the tri-oval, but down through 1 and 2. Joey Logano 4th to 1st. Now Chase Elliott will restart 4th. We'll see if it can be as fortunate as Logano was to make it work.
So where in the past, cutting that dog leg and being on the inside and using that apron was the advantage on restarts, now with the traction compound, it's sailing it in on the outside 4 wide, 3 wide. Kelly.
Been a solid day already for Chase Elliott. He finished second in stage 1, third in stage 2. He'll line up 4th for this restart, but the only number that matters to him and this team is finishing number 1 155 laps from now. Chase Elliott trying to make it to the championship for the first time in his young career, Parker.
Well, Kelly, for Kyle Larson, he's run a lot of this race between 5th and 7th, and they were just looking at the SMT data from that last run and notice his championship rivals there are able to get back to the gas sooner than him. Also of note, they had a little bubbling on the right front tire there, and we're entering some of the longest runs of this race. You're going to try and protect that right front tire, Dave.
With last week's win at Texas, Kevin Harvick is on his way to Miami already. So when he reported that his car wasn't quite right a minute ago, he said, yeah, but it doesn't really matter. Marty?
Dave, nobody knows how frustrating traffic was more than Denny Hamlin on that last run. So this restart, very critical. And remember, the last restart did not go so well for the 11. Chris Gabehart told Denny a moment ago, make sure you think through this restart and have everything where you need it before you come to the green flag.
Yeah, we saw how hard he had to work just to get back to 3rd, right? And he had control of the race and lost it on the restart. Whatever he did that didn't work, he obviously can't do that again. He wanted to say it was the mapping of the fuel and all that, and the crew chief's saying, hey, it worked fine before. You got to find a way to make this happen. He's got a shot right here to take control of this race again, but he's going to have to be perfect. Can't make that mistake again.
Yeah, plus his disadvantage, if he's battling side by side down into turn 1 in the middle of turn 1 and 2, and he's not clear of that outside line, then he doesn't have that preferred line off turn 2 and that momentum that we saw on the restart for the 22 and the 12. We saw it yesterday in the Xfinity race. That outside line, guys just roll so much speed off turn 2 down the back straightaway.
Denny Hamlin had worked so hard to get that outside lane. It had started making that work. Now he's back on the bottom. He's got to do this perfect.
It's happened again. Top 4 or the top 8 all playoff drivers as the field goes through the Geico restart zone, and Denny Hamlin spins the tires. Logano with the advantage as they go into 1. Hamlin may have had a little help from the 18 of Kyle Busch.
With that big wheel spin, though, if he can come out of this corner in 2nd, that'll be a win. Not going to happen.
Look at Chase Elliott on the outside in a must-win situation.
Ryan Blaney.
Yep, all those guys on the outside seem to be with the advantage on these restarts time and time again.
This is where you have to start wondering if Denny Hamlin right now is thinking, you know what, I'm just going to have to use that 9 car up a little bit, take the spot from him.
I think you have to do that. Maybe not now, but at some point in this race. The last couple of restarts are just going to be crazy. Guys are definitely going to be in each other's door. Look at the 11 chase up the car a little bit there, trying to take it away.
You saw these guys a little while ago slid each other. Now here they are again racing. Joey Logano driving away from them.
So far, so good. It's just good racing, good clean racing. The 11 car giving the 9 to Chase Elliott a little bit of room on the outside.
How about behind him, the 18 and the 12 almost made contact. Ryan Blaney drove it deep in the corner.
Side by side for 2nd, side by side for 4th. Hamlin has 2nd now away from Chase Elliott. And here comes Blaney in the 12.
With 150 laps to go in this race, Rick, everyone will have to stop for fuel at least once, depending on where the yellows come out. So a lot of racing still to go, and restarts. We get those cautions, we'll see some more restarts.
And remember the 18, Kyle Busch, came into this weekend and said, all I've got to do is stay in front of Logano. Well, right now, Joey Logano is leading this race. So he is the final driver of the 4. Kyle Busch sitting in that 4th position. He has a 15 position advantage over Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, we came in with, you know, some guys could do it on points. Chase Elliott was the one that was in a must-win, but after 2 stages and the playoff cars continuing to run 1st through 8, while the math still might be available to gain the points, the drivers have to start thinking, I got to win the race. If I'm a crew chief, I'm thinking, man, not the 18 of Kyle Busch, but if I'm Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson, or Chase Elliott, it's looking like a win just purely because the other cars are so fast.
Kevin Harvick trying to pass this 18 car, making his assault on Kyle Busch down here in turn 1 and 2. This car here wasn't very good over the last run, fading back through the field, through the back of the top 10, and now they seem to improve this 4 car for Kevin Harvick.
That's interesting because You know, Kevin Harvick, we all thought and think about Kevin Harvick as being the master here at Phoenix, but he said after the race last week at Texas, he felt like that was when they needed to win.
Around goes the 9. Chase Elliott hard into the wall. The back of the car's gone.
Wow. That is a big impact.
Yeah.
Day is over for Alan Gustafson.
I think he had a left rear tire go down at the end of the career hopes or the opportunity to race for the title for this team. Kelly.
Yeah, and it sounds Chase saying that he thinks he lost a tire. Didn't know if it was the left or right rear, but that's what led up to him crashing into the wall.
Yeah, hard hit. Into turn 1.
Hurt, take it to the garage. He can't even drive it. So you see the window net coming down. Chase Elliott's going to climb out. And that's the end of the day and the end of the possibility of being a part of the championship 4.
Yeah, at this point, the rear clip's sitting on the ground. As Chase climbs out. Good to see him get out of that car after that hit. Bent the rear glass in that car. Really hard hit. Straight directly into the fence.
Just a horrible round of 8 for this team. Remember the mechanical failure at Martinsville, wreck at Texas, now an incident here.
We don't know why that happened. You know, there's a little bit of contact, good hard racing between these guys. Way up there. Already loose. Yeah, he's got left rear tire down. You see the quarter panel sparking on the ground. We sometimes do see the left rear tires come out of these cars, and it can be for a number of reasons, whether it's contact with another car, traveling across that apron in the tri-oval on new tires does a lot of is very stressful on the tire itself, where the sidewall and the tread meet.
Yeah, plus every time they go across that apron, you see the dust fly. It's just a huge area down there. It only takes one rivet, one something to have a slow leak. Eventually it gets so low the tire goes flat. There was that close racing. I don't remember a moment where they banged or touched, right? I'm not saying it didn't happen, but there wasn't something that jumped out at me as I watched those races. But either way, flat tire, huge accident for the 9.
Early in the start of the final stage, the 9's out. NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Ally. Do it right. John Deere Gator utility vehicles. Run with us. Monster Energy. Unleash the beast. And by Sonic. This is how you Sonic. Incredible crowd on hand for the Bluegreen Vacations 500. Beautiful weather and seeing some great racing here. All these fans. Now, it has been a disastrous round of 8 for the 9 team, Steve.
Yeah, you heard Jeff mention it. This team came into the round of 8 only 6 points below the cut line with hopes of moving forward, but it started right away at Martinsville. Broke a rear gear after starting in the back because of a blown engine. The car looked good. Mechanically, it didn't make it. That put the 9 car all the way back. He finished in the 36th position. Then at Texas a week later, an uncharacteristic mistake out of Chase Elliott early. This is in the opening laps of the Texas race. He wrecks, finishes 32nd at Texas. They try to salvage points, unable to do it. And then today, what appears to be a flat or going flat left rear tire spins around entering turn 1. Heavy impact. 3 wins so far in 2019 for Chase Elliott. So much hope of advancing through the playoffs, and the round of 8 has been anything but kind to the 9 car.
There'll be a lot of talk about the 4 drivers who don't make it at the end of this race. And a lot of it will come from the Mobile One Peacock pit box. And of course, post-race coverage will be on NBCSN. Victory Lap. Remember, fans, you can call in. You can be a part of the show. Give your opinions on who wins the race, how they won it, your favorites for the championship. That's not the way the 9 team wanted to end this ISM Raceway race. Marty.
Rick, meanwhile, back to the playoff picture. Denny Hamlin sits in 5th, 16 points below the cut line as of right now. The big question for this race team, how can they get better restarts? The first one of the day won him stage 1, but the 2 since have not been good. Here's what Denny and Chris Gabehart said on the radio a moment ago.
Wish I could get better restarts for you, man. I promise you I'm trying. Simple one, I know. Like I said, don't overthink it. Take a strategy and attack it.
So, Steve, as a crew chief, what do you do in this position? Because you're helpless on top of the pit box. It's really up to Jeff and Junior to make sure they get it right behind the wheel.
Well, you're helpless as far as a mechanical adjustment, but you're not helpless to encourage. And what I liked there was confidence and direction. Jeff, listen, don't worry about it. I believe in you. You're great. Pick something and go with it. Just don't get stuck in the middle of not understanding what you want to do. Kelly.
Chase Elliott released from the infield care center. Good to see that you're okay, at least physically. I don't know about emotionally, because everything that could go wrong for you guys this playoff round did. How tough is this one to swallow?
Yeah, I mean, just a continuation of our first 2 weeks, unfortunately. So, hate it for our Napa group. You know, we had a decent Napa Chevy today. We were gonna, really tough in traffic to catch guys and pass and whatnot. So, but I felt like we were in a good position, running solid. Not sure, why we had a tire go down, but I think that's what happened at least. Seemed like it. So, yeah, unfortunate. It's like I said, these last 3 weeks have been pretty rough. So hopefully Homestead goes better and we can, get a good season prepared get prepared, good for next season and get a good notebook for next year.
If you could quickly give us some insight into that race, it seemed like track position was key today.
Yeah, it certainly seemed that way. It's you're racing really hard. It's like slow motion. It's just hard to make a lot happen in a little amount of time. So you really just have to really think about what's coming. Where lap cars ahead of you are running and where the person in front of you is running if you're better than he. So it's definitely tough. It was a tough race at that point. Enjoyed racing there towards the end of that stage. Thought we were racing hard, and you never want to have a round go like that. That was pretty rough. Not sure we've had a worse 3 weeks in a row, but we did it this time.
And we'll see how the 11 does. Denny Hamlin has been struggling with restarts. Does he get a good one here?
A little bit better, about as good as you could hope, not controlling the restart itself. It's hard to beat that leader when he knows when he's getting in the gas, and you have to make a guess. 18 car trying to get around his teammate. Denny being a little bit of a block there to maintain that position.
Denny going a little bit higher, trying to keep that momentum up as they go through the dog leg.
Yep, notice that with the trash compound up there, they can kind of overdrive the corner a little bit to sail it up to the racetrack into that if they want to.
Kyle Busch trying 1 and 2. Get a good run off.
Can he utilize it to take the second spot away? He gets to his bumper.
Think about this, Rick. Think about what's going on here. If that 11 car wins this race, then that 22 and that 18, they're in this incredible point battle.
There you see it. So Denny drives in on the back of that 22 car, gets aero tight, but allows the car to go up the track. because of that traction compound, he can allow the car go up there and still maintain, if not gain on corner exit. Does it again here in turns 1 and 2.
The other thing, without the 18 right behind him, it gives Denny Hamlin a chance to
the outside.
Because if it doesn't work, the 18's not there to take advantage of it. Now's the time to try it.
We'll see if it works here as they enter turn 1.
What happens down here? Does Joey take that high side, try to take the line away? He's driving at the mirror just as much as he's looking out the windshield at this point.
Remember, Denny Hamlin, he had that battle with Chase Elliott where they slid each other. Denny's got a little more experience at that at this racetrack right now than Joey does. Using all the racetrack. Wow.
For the lead, Denny Hamlin up front at ISM Raceway, racing to get into the championship 4.
You see instantly when the 11 takes the lead, 1 point from Joey Logano to Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch running in 3rd, Joey Logano in 2nd.
It's crazy. I mean, think about this. 1 point, guys. 1 position's 1 point.
And they're running next to each other. 1, 2, 3. Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, all fighting for the championship 4. Marty.
And Rick, you could just feel the sense of urgency ramp up in the 11 camp after this conversation before the restart.
Heading into stage 3, the 22 and 18 were tied for points. And currently we are must win.
And there you go. Denny Hamlin said all week long, I would know where we stood after stage 2. And he also described this race as his homestead. They think they must win in the 11 camp, thus the sense of urgency on that restart, and they got the lead.
How about Ryan Blaney, guys? I wouldn't count him out. This race has gone on. He's gotten a little better all throughout the race. Has used good restarts to get himself in position. Sitting right there in 4th. The way this race has gone, he's in a must-win situation as well. And he's gotten himself in position where he could pull this thing off and completely upend everything.
Yeah, one of the things, though, that I just saw is the 11 car has got the short run speed that he needs, even if he isn't controlling the restart at the end of the race. Even if for whatever reason he might lose the lead or the control of the lead for a late restart, the short run speed is so impressive in Denny's car. Better than anybody here. That may come into play late in this race. We get a little bit of a shootout.
Yeah, late restart. Let's take a look at the Toyota driver update. What a run it has already been for Denny Hamlin, who's up front once again. Kyle Busch running 3rd. Martin Truex Jr. in the 7th spot. Eric Jones 8th. Matt DiBenedetto running 14th.
Well, the question really all week is Denny Hamlin. He's been here before, came here in 2010, and it all kind of went away. This track took away his chance to win a championship. Can he come back? Could he kind of relive it? Could he figure out a way to redo it? It has been nothing easy. Lost the lead, went back in traffic, and here he's battled all the way back up to take the lead, and now has driven to a 1.5-second lead with 130 laps to go.
And whichever one finishes in front of the other here would be the final transfer position for the championship 4. Right now, Logano has it. If the 18 passes him, it'll be the 18 that will be able to make it into the championship 4.
In a system that has so many different variables and so many different ways to earn points, here we are, the 3rd race, the final stage, kind of mano-y-mano. Whoever outruns who, assuming the 11 continues to lead, this will be the race for the final transfer spot.
18 trying to get to the outside here. Saw his teammate Denny Hamlin use that same tactic in 3 and 4 and make it work. Joey's car doesn't look like it's getting any better as the race goes on. If anything, I think this car is they're not able to keep up with the racetrack. The 11 cars took off, drove away from these guys, and now the 22 is fighting to try to maintain this position from the 18. Behind him, the 12, the 42, all those guys waiting with an opportunity to try to drive up there and continue to drop kick Joey back through the field. I think his 22 car was really, really good on the last run early, and then it faded. Really surprised us how they ran him down. Are they staying ahead of this racetrack? Is this changing?
Joey Logano, he knows how important this position is. I mean, it's huge. Look on the left side. He's 1 point ahead of the 18. The 18 gets by him, it's going to flip. So Joey Logano, he's going to battle as if it's the last lap. Long way to go in this race, but he can't think like that. He's got to think like every lap's the last lap.
This is amazing because we know how hard it is for these guys to run this close to each other. With the disadvantages now Look at this 18 car.
For second and for a spot in the championship 4. Here comes Kyle Busch.
What happens down here in turn 3? Kyle drives it down in there, stays on the bottom of the track. Doesn't need to use up the racetrack. Or Joey's staying on that quarter panel, trying to stay out there. He knows if he can be here down in turn 1 and 2, he might be able to keep this position.
That traffic's going to come into play right there.
Yep.
That took it away from Joey Logano. Marty.
And Jeff, remember, Kyle Busch led the first 69 laps of this race. When they got back in traffic, it was a completely different car. Adam Stevens took a fairly big swing at it last time. Kyle saying as the track rubbered up, his car got way too tight. Clearly, they've made the 18 car better, Dave.
And shifting in the other direction was a 22. To answer Junior's question, the car has gone the opposite way on balance, although he thought it was coming to him there. 2 cars are faster right now, both from Joe Gibbs Racing.
Mentioned it was a heavyweight battle. Well, right now it's a heavyweight battle between these two. Whoever finishes in front could go to the championship 4.
Was it helpful, or sometimes was it really just on you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the spotter is as important today as they've ever been at all these racetracks, because you need your spotter to not only tell you about the crashes and all that, but also where that guy behind you is running, because being able to take his airway is so important with this rule package that I need a spotter to tell me. If I'm Joey Logano and I'm trying to stop the leading here and maintain the track position that I'm losing, where is that guy behind me running so I can keep him back there, take his air away, take the advantage that he has away. 12th car, Ryan Blaney's caught the 22 now.
Well, the top 7 are all playoff drivers. Harvick and Truex are 2 locked in. They're 6th and 7th, which basically means everyone in the mix is in the top 5. Hamlin leading, Busch and Logano in that points battle, but Blaney and Larson running 4th and 5th are making sure that everyone above them, they're keeping them honest. 117 laps to go. We're going to see at least one more pit stop. We have no idea what could happen, and they are staying there. We see Harvick now gets in front of Larson. For 2 guys that came in here below the cut line, they're having really good runs when they need it.
Something to keep in mind, too, guys. 5 cautions in the last stage here in March. 6 in the race here last year. So remember that restart we saw with Hamlin and how important these restarts are? If this trend continues, we could see more of those restarts. And pit stops, Steve. We know how important pit crews can become.
Well, remember, the 18 of Kyle Busch has the #1 pit stall. He won the pole yesterday, and so he has the #1 pit stall, which should be the best.
As we continue to watch this race, Denny Hamlin. Jeff, you've continued to say how important this race will be for the driver of the 11. He's driven off to a 4-second lead. So not only does he have a good short run car, as you pointed out, Dale, but it seems like as we get into a longer run, the 11 doesn't show any weakness yet.
Yeah, I just think back to Denny Hamlin in the race here several years ago. He had the championship at hand. On the wrong pit strategy, things didn't work out for him. He was so frustrated. That frustration carried into Miami, didn't get that championship. This year is his best chance to make that happen. He made a mistake last week. He can recover, come back from that, and make this year a career-defining year for himself by overcoming adversity. Denny Hamlin's shown that he's ready for it, and he's sitting in position. Still a long way to go and a lot of work to do, though.
Maybe he can knock those demons off of his back from that 2010 season when it was just a little bit too big for him. Let's go through the field. We'll start with Marty.
And Rick, on that subject of the 2010 season for Denny Hamlin, I asked Chris Gabehart about that. He said, you know what? I think this moment, this weekend, was maybe too big, would be too big for the 2010 Denny Hamlin. For the 2019 Denny Hamlin, he's up for it, and he's proven it today on the racetrack. Had the fastest car in practice, leading right now, and he said, we've made the car much better through turn 4. Kyle Busch's teammate right behind him saying he can't get the car to roll the center like he would like, and he struggled with that on longer runs, getting too tight. Their playoffs have been a disaster. Adam Stevens told me, Dave, all we need is a clean day today and they can make it through, up by 1 point now.
Logano's going to need an adjustment on that race car. The condition that he was fighting before the last stop, he's still fighting. Right there as he enters turn 3, the car is still loose, and then right here, it won't turn the way he wants it to. Next pit stop will be critical, Marty.
Dave, Phoenix used to be one of Ryan Blaney's worst racetracks, but they have worked hard at this racetrack, at Richmond as well, and they've gotten better at both tracks. A moment ago, Jeremy Bullins gave Blaney a points update. He said, we have to win the race. Blaney dejectedly said, okay. Sitting in 4th right now, Dave.
Kevin Harvick already advanced to the championship round. Talked with me this morning about how he might race the guys who are really desperate. He said, you know what, I'm not going to race him that hard unless I've got a winning car. Right now he's 5th and showing a lot of speed, Kelly.
Martin Truex Jr. and this 19 team have known for 2 weeks that they'd be a part of the Championship 4 race, which has allowed crew chief Cole Kern to give his guys a little bit of a rest and refresh. He told me they have a, quote, skeleton crew here at the track here in Phoenix. He said it's easy to show up to Miami with your tongue hanging out of your mouth. He hopes these last couple of weeks with a little bit more relaxed atmosphere will help them be at their best when they show up next week for the championship, Parker.
And Kelly, they just passed Kyle Larson at 42. Harvick and Truex, he was running 5th and just slowly slipped back, coming across the radio and saying he's just too tight. But before that, interestingly enough, he asked his team what exactly the point situation was between the 18 and the 22. Why? Because he said if they get crazy, I just want to hang out here. He's hoping for something to go his favor if he wants to contend for a championship in Miami.
Of Ryan Blaney in the 3rd position, got by the 22 of Joey Logano, running some really nice laps. So we said it at the top of the show. You asked who the favorite was. We said, well, Denny has a good car, but they all have a chance of winning the race. I think this continues to prove it. The only one not running up there in the top 7 is the 9 who had the accident.
This is how he did it. Watch what Ryan Blaney does. He goes all the way to the top, way up the racetrack. Watch this line and this run that he gets. Just way faster than Logano, turns left. Joey knows and sees how much faster he is, doesn't put up a huge fight.
Yeah, Joey's struggling. His last lap, Blaney passed him. Now Blaney ran a 56. All right, 2nd fastest lap of anybody. Joey ran an 88. Everybody behind him was in the 70s. Joey is in trouble right here. He's hoping for a yellow soon. He's losing tons of track position that he needs to keep for the end of this race.
And look at the board. Look how many points these spots. Remember, he was in front of the 22, a point to the good. Now he's lost all these spots. Now he's 3 points behind.
I think that they shouldn't be telling Kyle Busch any of this. Do not let him know that he is this close to being knocked out. Just let him think that, man, you got it. Just stay where you are. We're good. Don't tell him you +3. Freak out.
Well, 6 drivers started today with a possibility of joining the championship 4. It ended early for the 9 of Chase Elliott. Right now fighting for those spots for the 42 and 12. Logano, defending series champion, on the outside right now. Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin currently in. This week, an all-new Chicago Wednesday with 3 riveting stories. Chicago Med, Fire, and PD. Don't miss Chicago Wednesday, only on NBC. Here at ISM Raceway, Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs continuing and under 100 laps to go. Joey Logano's out right now. He currently runs in the 6th position, but with Kyle Busch in front of him on the racetrack. Kyle Busch is in. Denny Hamlin is in, currently leading.
Tough position right now for Joey Logano. He knows the situation. He knows that the 18 car of Kyle Busch is driven away from him, but he has to just remain focused. Got to kind of stop the bleeding, so to speak, and just hit your marks. And you can only do what you can do, right, Junior? When your car won't go, the harder you try, the worse it is. You just got to get every bit of speed out of it, but any more will get you in bigger trouble.
You can see on the graph below there, he's almost half a lap behind the leader. He's half a second slower just about every lap. 2 to 3 tenths slower than these guys he's racing around. That's a lot at this racetrack. They are really, really struggling. I don't know if they can gain 3 tenths on a pit stop with an adjustment there, but they're going to have to work on this race car if he gets that opportunity.
Remember, he was leading this race.
Yeah.
And now all
drove away
on
one restart to a comfortable lead. And they chased him back down, and he talked about being loose in. You wonder if the adjustment they made on that car has made it where it will not roll the center. You can see just getting killed on corner exit right there by the 42 car.
Tires are on backwards or something.
They said the tires were on backwards or something. Now he's being a little sarcastic there, but he's telling them, like, we've got a real issue with the way this car's driving.
Yeah, when you're driving a race car that's leading a race, and then now your car, I mean, honestly, he's got speed that could run 11th or 12th. And that's a huge change in his car. So he's exaggerating, but he's trying to express how big of a problem he's having in there.
Hoping to defend his title, but right now it's not looking good as we look at the built to serve. Ram built to serve here at ISM Raceway.
Yeah, restarts are going to be important. Should we get a late restart, what happens on that restart is going to decide what drivers are going to go into that championship round.
And you have to be aware of your position right now. Joey Logano's in trouble because Denny Hamlin is leading this race, but remember that all changes. If Hamlin isn't leading, then it isn't as much of a dire situation for the 22 in the points race with Kyle Busch. Manage that and understand it.
There's a season on the line, a chance to win a championship. You've got to do everything right at the right time. Who's man enough for it, right? Who can step up and make it happen?
So that situation, Jeff, is why I think Todd Gordon is a really tough position here for Joey Logano. If it was very clear that you had to go up there and perhaps win this race, you could pit this car early. I think the pit window would open in about 8 laps. It's a huge gamble, though. Can you afford to take that gamble? Can you assume Denny Hamlin's going to win this race? Because if he doesn't, if Kyle Busch wins the race, then Logano's in on points. If you gamble and lose 20 other positions in a couple laps, that gamble can actually be the reason you don't advance.
What's making that decision easier for him, though, is he's getting further and further away from Kyle Busch. He's getting into the spot where how do you go get 7, 8 positions back to Kyle Busch? You see Eric Jones passing him. That's going to put Joey Logano in 10th. Kyle Busch is in 2nd. That's 8 spots he's going to have to go get. That decision to pit early is getting easier and easier.
But you don't have to get those spots if Hamlin isn't leading. You only have a points battle if Hamlin, Larson, or Blaney's leading the race.
I'm having to assume that Hamlin's going to win this thing. I don't have a choice. He's a 10th and a half second faster than the field right now. I got to assume Denny Hamlin's going to win this race.
91 to go. Let's get a few updates on non-playoff drivers, Parker.
Right, and one of the cars that just went by Joey Logano was his teammate Brad Keselowski, who's now running 7th, the highest non-playoff driver. And I asked his crew chief Paul Wolf about racing playoff drivers as a non-playoff drivers, and he made a bit of a joke saying, oh, we've got a lot of experience with that, which is not a good thing for a team that is used to contending for championships and race wins. But he told me, look, we have our own goals. We have things we want to work on going into 2020 to be the best race team we can be, and that's what they're trying to do here, showing with a strong run, Kelly.
Parker, statistically speaking, ISM Raceway has not been one of the better tracks for Clint Boyer. He has just one top 10 finish here in the last 12 races, but when I spoke with him this morning, he seemed pretty optimistic about this number 14 car. He told me he felt like they had a piece they could compete with. It was purely a matter of getting the track position to do something with it. Right now, Clint running 8th says he just needs his car to arc a bit more. Marty?
Eric Jones, Kelly, among those drivers of the non-playoff drivers having a nice run here at Phoenix this afternoon. Been in the top 10 all day long. Struggles on the longer runs with his car getting too tight in the Interstate Batteries colors this weekend. When I talked to him before the race, he said, you know what? We have a simple goal for the final 2 weeks of the season. Just clean up our races. Finish where we run. That's what we need to do, Dave.
Disappointing day for Eric Almirola. Just went a lap down to the leader, and that's because last weekend he finished second and led 62 laps at Texas, part of a 1-2-3 Stewart-Haas Racing sweep. Next weekend, Johnny Klausmeyer, the crew chief, told me they'll be in full help Harvick mode, running the same platform, trying to help their teammate win the championship.
Harvick in the hunt for a title. He's already in the championship. 4 green flag pit stops are coming up. Top 3 fighting to make it into the championship for Hamlin. Kyle Busch currently have the spots, but here comes Blaney. He's all the way up to 3rd. Marty.
Rick, a potential problem for the second place car of Kyle Busch. He told his team a moment ago he might have a vibration on the right front. Adam Stevens told him, listen, take care of it. If you need to come to pit road, that's okay. You can come to pit road, but we would like to make it last about 20 laps longer. That's in our window of when we plan to come to pit road. Then Kyle came on the radio, Steve, and said, I think I have it diagnosed. I'm not sure if that makes you feel comfortable on top of the pit box or not, but so far Kyle keeping it on the racetrack.
Well, I don't need to know the details, but if he's on the racetrack, that makes me feel a little bit better. If he had it diagnosed and was coming to pit road, that would tell me it's a loose wheel or something he doesn't feel that they can fix. And he's a smart veteran race car driver. If he thought it was something that needed attention, he would bring it to pit road. So I would like a little more information, but I would take that.
But everybody's monitoring everybody else's radio, too. So you don't want to give away too much information, especially in a situation where Joey Logano is fighting for him for that final transfer spot right now.
Joey Logano is about to be a lap down. This 11 car that's the next car to pass. To put a lap down, Joey Logano was just passed by Matt DiBenedetto for 11th place. Joey in 12th, right there in front of the leader.
Does that make your decision as to when to come to pit road, Steve?
I know what Jeff was saying, but I'm not going to call this race like the 11's going to win it. I'm not going to remove myself from the playoffs. I'm not going to do it. If I'm Todd Gordon. If Denny Hamlin beats us, he beats us. If Kyle Busch beats us, he beats us. I'm not going to beat myself. I'm going to stay on the racetrack, continue to try to diagnose this issues, trying to figure out what the adjustments need to be. We have no idea how crazy the last 79 laps of this race could be.
He's all the way back to 12th, though, Steve. I mean, he is so much slower right now than the 11. I mean, it's not even close. He is almost a half a second a lap slower.
More. Yeah, 6/10.
He is struggling.
Dave.
and they're making a plan down here what they can do for Joey Logano's race car. Here were his comments a few laps ago.
I don't know what the hell happened to this thing, but it don't hurt. Copy. We'll fix it up.
What happened? He went from the lead back to 12th, now about to be lapped if the 11 car right there behind him catches up to him. And Todd Gordon, the crew chief, has a big task. Which way do you go? Right now the car is really tight. He's been dialing some brake bias into it, trying to fix it himself, but he's got to give a lot of feedback now, and Steve, it's a tough task.
I mean, the problem is that's not a chassis adjustment away. Your car doesn't slow down a half a second because you have a little too much wedge or something like that. It's like a mechanical issue. Either the track bar has broken on the right side and it's falling down, it's fallen 5 or 6 inches, or something in the front suspension has broken, or the tires are on there incorrectly, or the air pressures are wrong. There is a major mechanical issue with the 22, so good luck diagnosing it and correcting it. What they need is a yellow.
It has been a long time since a yellow. We're currently on a 63 lap green flag run, but slow on the track.
He's got a right front tire flat on his 27 car.
Joe Nemechek, can he get to pit road without bringing out the caution?
He's got a long way to go. He's only entering turn 3 right now. He's got to get all the way over to the other side of the racetrack. You
Sparks.
See the sparks.
Down low. All good.
The key is when it start, well, the tire come apart and put NASCAR in a position where they have to throw the caution. Right now, he's pretty far out of the groove. There he goes. There's Denny Hamlin lapping Joey Logano.
Green flag racing continuing.
How fast is Denny Hamlin? There's 10 cars in the lead lap, Rick. Only 10.
All right, let's take a look at today's lap leaders, brought to you by the Honda Talon. Logano surprisingly going a lap down now, and he led 93 laps in this race. Denny Hamlin has led 72 and counting. Kyle Busch the first 69 laps of the race. Brad Keselowski was out front for 3. All right, Steve, crew chief, you have a 10.8 second lead over second place Kyle Busch. Should you be backing her down a little bit? Do we need to be going this hard? Maybe pushing the tires to their limit?
No, lap everyone you can lap, because you have to win this race. Run as hard as you can run. I don't care if you get 5 cars in the lead lap. That way, if it's a shootout at the end, you are only racing 4 or 5 cars. Eliminate your competition. Now, unfortunately, other than Joey Logano, his playoff competition are all on the lead lap with him. They're right there on his bumper. Ryan Blaney actually in 3rd is the car I keep having my eye on, while he is way, let me rephrase it. He's good, but way slower than the 11.
Yes.
The 11 is much faster than everyone on the racetrack. You know, you never know, a shootout, a short run, anything can happen. So if I'm Denny Hamlin, continue to go. The next car will be William Byron, the 10th place car.
William came to pit road here. Starting to see some guys choose to start that pit cycle.
That's the other advantage Denny Hamlin has with an 11-second lead, is you don't have to worry about rushing to pit road. You know, even if someone gets new tires, they're not going to make up 11 seconds in 1 or 2 laps.
Chris Gabehart continuing to watch the monitors. As Denny Hamlin continues to dominate this race. Now 12.2 seconds separate Hamlin and Kyle Busch.
Thinking, can we just go 70 laps green? Is that too much to ask for? 71 laps?
And it'll be on his pit crew, but with this big lead, he has a little cushion built in.
He is a half a lap in front of second place. Think about that. I mean, Kyle Busch is in second, 12 seconds back. I mean, and it's 2 to 4 tenths a lap faster Denny Hamlin is than his teammate. Amazing how fast this car is, Marty.
And remember, you talked about Ryan Blaney. Here he comes down pit road, slides it a little bit far. They hope that doesn't cost him some track position. Kevin Harvick also on pit road. Blaney sitting his car a little bit too free, Dave.
Harvick said that his car, the longer he runs, he loses more grip in turns 3 and 4. 4 Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel air pressure adjustment.
So for green flag pit stop, if I'm the crew chief of the 11 right now, I'm going to have a little conversation with my pit crew. We do not need an 11.5-second stop. What we need is a very clean 13-second stop with 20 very tight lug nuts. Make sure we do not do something to eliminate it. Denny Hamlin, if you normally run 4 green lights, let's see 1 or 2. Run a mile an hour slower as we see the 19 on pit road now, Kelly.
Yeah, he's been running 4th, and he says he just has no front end all day. Besides that, he hasn't been able to get fired off on the restarts for Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel for Truex, who's already through to the championship, Marty.
You see Kyle Busch hitting pit road, hoping they are through to the championship at the end of the day, Kelly. He said, my front tires are absolute trash. Adam Stevens said, right now we have a lot more to lose than we have to gain. Bring it to pit road here for Goodyear tires and a race car that's been tight all afternoon long. His teammate Denny Hamlin coming down pit road, the leader right now, Rick.
So the race leader, Denny Hamlin, as you mentioned, no mistakes. Steve, this is when you have got to be perfect. Don't lose what you have already gained.
You don't even have to be perfect. Just I'll take average. Just don't be bad, Marty.
And to that point, they said, make sure you're cool on your pit road speed. Do not cut the radius of that corner. It kind of goes around a corner here at Phoenix. It's easy to speed on this pit road. Denny Hamlin said his car actually was looser that run than it's been all day long for Goodyear tires. A very small air pressure adjustment. We'll see how much the leader can hold on to his lead here on pit road, Parker.
For Kyle Larson, he's been so tantalizingly close to those front cars, just not able to find the speed. The team wanted to go 3 laps longer, but he came across radio and said, I'm pitting now for Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel, and loosening up that 42 car, Dave.
Team Penske trying to fix a 3,000-pound rolling science project that's gone bad. One thing they will do is increase the air pressure in the right rear tire. They took that out last time. That goes back. It's air pressure only. A little bit of tape on the front grille. Will that be enough for Joey Logano?
Playoff drivers all doing their green flag pit stops and making their way back out onto the racetrack. Kurt Busch has not been to pit road yet. Denny Hamlin, after these pit stops cycle through, will be back up front. We go NASCAR nonstop. Now under 60 laps, 59 to go. The NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs from ISM Raceway. Telecast presented by USAA. Aerial coverage presented by Coca-Cola. Can Denny Hamlin shake off the demons that were so prevalent in 2010 at this racetrack?
Hamlin is a lap down to the race leader.
Good cars and all that. We had all that today and things didn't work out strategy-wise.
You still have a 15-point lead headed to Homestead. Now, what about next week? What is the mindset?
I don't know.
That man has got to be wondering, what do I have to do?
And the moment may be a little bit too big. Wasn't able to win the championship in 2010 when he went to Homestead-Miami. And now he comes off of a week where he lost 44 points. He was in the championship four, in position. Last week, he loses all those points, comes in here, and everyone is asking him, is this a career-defining day? Tried to play it off, but right now, he's showing everyone, running up front, he can be a championship caliber driver in the Monster Energy Cup Series.
Yeah, a strategy call in a fuel situation. Back in 2010, he gave up a ton of points to Jimmy Johnson, ended up losing the championship to him at Miami. Can he come back after that mistake you mentioned at Texas? I mean, he's starting to be put in that class with Mark Martin, right? The greatest who has never won a championship. His numbers are outstanding. You just saw him. He's won all the big races, all the big moments. I know he's won the biggest races, but personally, winning here, at least until next week, would be, in my mind, the biggest win of his career.
Denny Hamlin, he's dominated this race. I'm a little concerned, though. I don't think his car is quite as good as it was. I know he's still got a huge lead, 7.5 second essentially lead, but it was 12 seconds. He's in a lot of traffic, but I just don't feel like his car looks like it did earlier.
Yeah, the 11 car, Denny Hamlin just lapped Brad Keselowski a moment ago, put him in the free pass position, but now Joey's passed his teammate, Brad Keselowski, to be in the free pass position. Brad Keselowski was running up in the 7th position before the cycle. He is really having some troubles right now with his car, not very fast, running 28 flats, about a half second off of the leader's pace. So Joey back into the free pass position. He is right behind our leader, Denny Hamlin. Just a few cars behind Denny Hamlin is Joey, trying to keep pace, trying to get up there. If he can't get that free pass, if the caution should wave, maybe it's fast enough to drive up there and actually take his lap back from Denny.
Which I'm amazing this 22 now has the speed. I'm still so curious what was wrong with the car a run ago. We didn't hear anything from the team. We didn't see anything, obviously, with the tires they took off, but the 22 of Joey Logano is as good as perhaps he was earlier in the race.
Steve, they all looked good when they came off the car. They all were labeled as they were in the right position. Remember, that's something the driver radioed about. Are the tires in the right place? That was true. But the air pressure, a half pound, what do you think in the right rear, the change that was taken out and now put back in?
Well, I'm not going to say it can't happen, but if a half a pound was 0.6 of a second at Phoenix, it's the most valuable half a pound of air I've ever seen in my life. Something else had to be amiss on that 22 car. There's just, to your point, Jeff, it wasn't a small amount. They lost a lap. They started on the front row and ended up losing a lap.
Yeah, let's remember though, we're still early in this run. Maybe this car is just going to fall off really badly on a long run. We haven't gotten there yet. We may not have fixed it. We don't know.
I think surprisingly is right now Joey Logano is currently 9th, and he's the first car a lap down. Only 8 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, in front of Joey is Eric Jones. He's quite a bit, several car lengths in front of Denny, and he's been there through this entire cycle, even before the cycle, Eric Jones. So I don't think Denny's going to lap him in the next couple of laps. So Joey is driving like his life depends on it right now, trying to either catch that 11 car or at least stay in the free pass position. We heard from Brad Keselowski may have lost a cylinder in that car. I thought he was having some problems and has dropped back quickly. Just no speed down the straightaway with that car.
You talk about Eric Jones, and one of the reasons I'm saying I'm afraid Hamlin's car isn't as good as it once was is because Eric Jones has driven away from Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin was only 3 or 4 car lengths behind him, and look where he is now. He is 20 car lengths in front of him, so I'm concerned about that 11 car.
You can have concern, but right now Denny Hamlin is leading with only 8 cars on the lead lap. We go NASCAR nonstop. NASCAR Champions Week is going to Music City. You can be a part of the celebration. You can join NASCAR in Nashville. That's December 3rd through the 5th. Visit championsweek.nascar.com for more information. Let's do a playoff driver through the field, and we'll start with Marty.
Denny Hamlin has now led 100 laps, Rick, and once the air pressures came up in that 11 car, they have taken off. Boy, you think about last week, they finished 28th after the spin by Denny Hamlin, and the mistake, they lost 44 points to the cut line. He won the last race in the round of 12, trying to do it today in the round of 8 and advance himself to Miami. Kyle Busch just told Adam Stevens on the radio a moment ago, as they ride in second, car better on this run. It takes off loose, but then comes to me. Same exact car they had at Richmond, where they finished second that day. If they can pull it off again today, that will be good enough to get them to Miami. Meanwhile, Ryan Blaney sits in third, frustrated because the car is very good. They feel like they need track position, and if they could get there, they might have a shot at the 11, and they too could punch their ticket to Miami, Kelly.
The 2017 champion Martin Truex Jr. will be a part of the championship for the 4th time in the last 5 years. And crew chief Cole Pern told me that experience of knowing what to expect when they show up in Homestead goes a long way. Now, the one thing they have this year that they haven't had in years past, the benefit of 2 extra weeks to solely focus on dialing in that race car for the race next week in Miami. They're hoping that time will pay dividends. Dave?
Kevin Harvick's team has had half that time winning last week's race, and I talked to a relaxed Harvick this morning about getting back to Miami. He's very excited about it. Wife and kids aren't here this weekend, but you can bet they'll be there next weekend, rooting Dad on to a possible 2nd championship in NASCAR's Cup Series, Parker.
Right, and Kyle Larson runs 7th. Why? Because, well, he's run between 5th and 7th basically this entire race. They've just never really been able to make more headway. If he wants to go on to the championship four, they're going to need a bit of help to find themselves fighting for the victory, but haven't had the car to show it. And speaking to his crew chief, Chad Johnson, earlier today, I asked him, if you don't make it, is that a big loss? He said, no, making it to the round of 8 was big for this race team. It's the furthest we've ever gone, and we've learned a ton here, Dave.
Joey Logano, the first car, 1 lap down. He's thrown everything at it this week. And remember, after qualifying, he talked to the media. He was shaking. He tried so hard to get the pole here. But after that bad run in the middle of this race, after winning stage 2, the 22 car just is not in position right now to advance to the championship. Rick, he needs a miracle.
I'm not sure it's a miracle he needs. I know he looks in a bad position because Denny Hamlin's leading, but let's be very clear. If Denny Hamlin gets passed by the 18, if Denny Hamlin doesn't win this race, he is out. He does not have the points to outpoint Joey Logano. So the only reason Joey Logano is out is because he's not as fast as the 18, which is his points issue, but it's because Denny Hamlin is taking a spot by winning the race. He has the same concern with Ryan Blaney, who's 3rd, Larson's who's 7th. None of those guys below can win. It looks bad, and it is bad, but it's really just one guy. Denny Hamlin is the blockade for Joey Logano.
Denny Hamlin is pulling away from Kyle Busch also. 9.7 seconds is the gap between 1st and 2nd. So Denny Hamlin, with just 37 laps to go, has led now over 106 laps, 107 with this one right there, and counting. And again, almost a 10-second lead over 2nd place Kyle Busch. Denny Hamlin coming in. Mentioned it being a potential career-defining day for Denny Hamlin, and he has stepped up. And he has definitely given us an incredible performance already to this point, Marty.
He has indeed. And, Steve brought up an interesting point a moment ago, the reference to Mark Martin. In fact, Denny was asked about that in the media center earlier this week. Would you be okay with being this era's Mark Martin? And Denny said, you know what? Yeah, I think race wins are maybe more important than a championship. That did not sit well with the guy on the right, Chris Gabehart. He saw that quote, immediately texted Denny, and he said, stop it. We are going to win the championship this year. Do not be satisfied with anything less. Steve, sometimes we always talk about it. As a crew chief, your #1 job, obviously get the car ready, but your #2 job, you got to get that driver in the right mental frame. And Chris Gabehart has done an excellent job with that this year with Denny Hamlin.
We hear coaches in other sports say it all the time. I need to prepare my team. We heard that all day yesterday in college football. I had to prepare my team. It's not just calling plays. It's not just in the weight room. It's a mindset. It's an approach. It's no different in auto racing. As a crew chief, you have to prepare your driver, your pit crew. I mean, you talk about preparing a team. How about a Super Bowl championship coach? If I am a crew chief in this organization, I spend time with Coach Gibbs. I lean on him. How is he such a great leader? How did he motivate people who had so much natural ability? Try to lean on him. Learn about how you could coach your driver in these situations.
And Steve, right now, 3 of the 4 for the championship 4, Joe Gibbs Racing drivers. Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin. Let's listen into the little radio.
Denny, don't take any risks here, but that 20 is running 8. The more cars I get a lap down, the easier my decision is if we get a caution.
I think Denny's pushing as hard as he can.
Yeah, well, listen, I still like separating yourself as much as you can. Have as many cars in between you and that second place car, because that's a huge advantage coming onto pit road. Yeah, if you've got 15 cars between you, you're going to come on pit road, 10 cars in front of them.
Yeah,
that's a big advantage.
If he laps his 20 car down, Joe Logano is no longer the free pass if the caution does come out.
Let's go NASCAR nonstop. 31 laps to go. .26 laps to go. Denny Hamlin in the lead, trying to make the championship 4 in Miami. Tonight he earns his first Cup title.
I don't even know what to say. How about this, Martin Truex Jr.? You are the champion, baby. Woo! Yeah! You won the championship, baby. Yeah!
It has taken a win every single year of this style of playoffs to win the championship. And next Sunday on NBC, the NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series champion will be crowned. That race coverage beginning from Miami at 3 p.m. Eastern.
And seeing Kevin Harvick hoist the trophy has brought me right back to today at Phoenix. Remember, Kevin Harvick came here. The only way to advance was to win. He won. A week later, went to Miami and did it again. We've talked about how great of a year it had been for Denny Hamlin. Everything was on cruise control, winning races. Even the playoffs looked simple until the round of 8. they started okay. I know there was a lot of pressure on him in Martinsville. He was unable to get the win. It was the mistake at Texas that really put the bullseye on Denny Hamlin, that how could this go awry? How could he end up missing the championship 4? And here he is, 22 laps away from joining the championship 4 again.
You mentioned that mistake at Texas. Let's look back at it. Coming off of turn 4, just gets loose.
By himself, no real traffic. Kind of an unforced error, and then the damage on the nose gave up all of those 44 points in 1 week.
Denny Hamlin 5 wins already in 2019. He started the season off grabbing his 2nd Daytona 500. Bristol night race. So much confidence coming into this round, and then it didn't go the way he had planned. But he didn't lose that confidence, and he said the reason he hasn't lost his confidence is because of Chris Gabehart. Chris Gabehart has kept him on an even keel, where things that used to get under his skin and really irritate him, he would take it to an extreme. But Gabehart said, we've got to put everything in perspective. Every little thing that goes wrong, we cannot put it out of perspective and out of control. So right now, Denny Hamlin should be thanking Chris Gabehart because he has kept him on even keel, and right now in front of this field with 20 laps to go. Marty.
And Rick, coming into such a big weekend after the weekend they had at Texas, you would think you'd be dialed into the study books and everything, and Denny Hamlin was certainly that when he was at the racetrack. But away from the track, he took a different tack. Rid of the house in the area in Scottsdale, stayed there with Kyle Larson and Ricky Stenhouse, his buddies, played golf, went to concert, swam in the pool, and he told me, you know what, it really allowed me to relax a little bit away from the track. Normally you're in your bus and you're overthinking everything and kind of going over everything, but getting away really helps. So Jeff, sometimes it's the little things on the road, right? When you travel 38 weeks a year, when you can do something small like that, rent a house, feel like a normal guy on a weekend, certainly helped Denny Hamlin relax this weekend and focus on the racetrack when he was here.
Everybody handles these situations differently. See right there, he got by Eric Jones. I think experience is the biggest thing for Denny Hamlin. Having been there, done that, and maybe done it wrong, right? We all learn. We hope we learn when we do something wrong, and I think we showed earlier when although that things went bad for Denny Hamlin in the past, it unraveled on him. Right now, he's stepped up to the plate, and this isn't over. I want to, it's still 17 to go. We've all watched these races. You never know what's going to happen. But just a little side note, Denny Hamlin, he was the last guy to win Miami that didn't go on to win the championship. That was in 2013. So if he does win this race, he has been successful at Miami.
So you mentioned that the race is not over. If I'm Chris Gabehart, I'm on the radio right here. Hey, buddy, 17 to go. What do you need if we get a yellow? What's the deal? What do we need if we need? I want him always attacking, thinking, what's his car do? What to do on the short run? Lap 5, lap 10, we left under green. Your pace wasn't very good. Is that on me? Do I need to adjust the air pressure? Were you just taking care of it? Don't let him relax.
I imagine every time he comes up off of turn 2, he's looking up that scoreboard, counting the laps down. He cannot wait to see that white flag, hoping that all the while between him and that white flag, there's no cautions, there's nothing, no obstacles to get in the way of him winning this race. He's had the fastest car. We've seen him do this before. We've seen him and every driver in the field lose races with the fastest car. He's hoping that that does not happen to him today.
I think what Steve said a minute ago, I agree 100%. I think Chris Gabehart needs to be talking to him, getting that information, getting in Denny's head that, listen, if the caution does come out, we're prepared for it. We're ready for it. It's not a big, yeah, we're disappointed, but it's okay. We're going to win this race anyway. You got to be in that mindset. If you get in that mindset where the caution comes out and you're like, oh, well, there it goes, right? There's another chance. I had a championship opportunity and it's gone. If you get in that, you're not going to have the right restart. You're not going to do everything you need to. You have to accept the challenge, and that starts before the caution comes out.
Well, you mentioned Denny Hamlin counting down the laps. I think a driver that's counting down the races to the end of 2019 is Jimmy Johnson. It's not been the year that the 7-time champ has won it. He was in that highlight, right? He won one of these championships down in Miami, making his 650th start today, looking for more, trying to get back to victory lane. But it was funny as we went through the highlights. Kevin Harvick, Truex, all the same players in today's race. The one who wasn't there was Jimmy Johnson, so they're trying to right that ship on the 48.
Another driver, guys, I think that we have to really need to give credit to today is this guy right here. Ryan Blaney coming in here in a must-win. right? But they brought it. They were good in practice, been good in this race, running third, right? Hamlin's been the class of the field, but Ryan Blaney, young driver, really the first time in this situation. The moment hadn't been too big for him. And this team can take a lot out of this race to build on, Marty.
And Burton, I go back to what Blaney told me a few weeks ago. He said, I don't want to be that guy who just wins one race a year. We want to be contenders. We want to run up front. And in this round of 8, they certainly have done that. 5th, 8th, they're running 3rd today. They have really shown in these playoffs, hey, when it comes to 2020, we're going to be a factor when you think of championship.
38 cars slow on the front straightaway, down on the apron. Came around 3 and 4 on the apron, cruising down the front straightaway. Got a lot of speed rolling here. Doesn't look like he has a flat tire or anything coming apart. I think he'll get around to the apron and be able to get to pit road, but an issue for David Reagan here.
Well, and remember, Denny Hamlin probably doesn't want to have a restart. He doesn't want a caution because he's already said, I've struggled with restarts today. He apologized to his team about the restarts. So he doesn't want to have a caution come out, and we see the 38's going to make it to pit road, and now the caution has come out. Caution has come out. There will be a restart.
Yeah, it's a car behind. Oh, it's teammate. John Hunter Nemechek has contacted the outside retaining wall. Look at that car. Hard in the wall there.
That thing has hit the wall a ton. The whole right side is flat.
Okay, but this is what we talked about. Right now, Denny Hamlin's got to get in the right mindset. He's got to get in the right mindset. He's going to have a restart. What does the pit crew do? What do you do as a driver? You focus on your job. You cannot let this take it away from you.
There's 7 cars on the lead lap. 3 of them need to win this race. Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney in 3rd, and Kyle Larson in 7th.
I don't know. You'd have to be a robot not to let this get to you. You'd have to, I mean, this has to make Denny nauseous. It's exactly what he didn't want.
I'm pretty
It
good
is.
on a short run.
You can hear
No.
you can hear in his tone. You know, he's like, oh, I'm disappointed that yellow came out. We had
I feel like I'm okay.
Had it easily won there.
Yes, but Ryan Blaney's jumping up and down in his car, right? He's so excited he can't take it. I mean, he is ready to go.
Listen to the 18 radio.
The 22 is not the lucky dog here, so we're back to racing for it. We got to be careful with the 11 because he has to win. He must win.
There you hear it. The 11 has to win. He does. That's the one thing that Denny Hamlin, to advance, he has to win this race. Otherwise, if he's not up front leading the race, Joey Logano will be the other that will get in.
So, guys, I know we're talking about Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, and the drivers, but that's after the pit stops. First, it's right here on pit road in the pit boxes. The 11 of Denny Hamlin is the leader of the race, but if he comes to pit road and leaves in 4th or 5th, that's it. It could have evaporated because of a pit stop.
Here's the reaction to the caution coming out.
Yes, you know you're frustrated, but now put it behind you. Now focus on what's ahead, the task at hand.
Yeah, there's a lot of lap cars in between Denny Hamlin and 2nd, 3rd place. Kyle Busch.
So that gives him a little bit of a buffer on pit road, right? So they can't pull up to pit.
So you see right here when the 11 takes a left-hand turn to go onto pit road here off from turn 2. Look at the gap all the way back to the next car, the 18 of Kyle Busch. Look at the advantage he'll have. That's a great point, Junior. Just solid. Did you say perfect? We don't need perfect. We'll take average. Just a good average pit stop.
And also the advantage the 18 had over the 12.
Kelly.
First up, their Joe Gibbs Racing teammate Martin Truex Jr. pits from the 4th position. They finally got the car to where it felt good in turns 1 and 2, but he said he was still just loose in 3 and 4. Looks like it's going to be a 4-tire stop for the 19, Marty.
Ryan Blaney in 3rd comes to pit road, said no balance issues, and they're going to go to a short run pressures, meaning they're up. Denny Hamlin already in his stall. He said, what was the caution for? That was really his only reaction. They are going to go right side tires on the 11. Meanwhile, the 18 is going to go 4 tires. Their call was Jerry Springer on this pit stop. He said the turn is really good. I need better drive off.
We just showed the gap Denny Hamlin had coming to pit road. There was zero reason, absolutely zero reason to take 2 tires. Well, if he could have changed left side tires and still have left the leader.
You think he would have still beat the 12 off that took 2 tires as well?
I don't care. I'd rather be 2nd to 4 tires. You know you're not going to line up 4th or 5th. You absolutely put on 4 tires in that call. Completely disagree with the 2-tire call there. I like it for the 12 because he has to gain some spots, but with this few cars on lead lap, with the most dominant car in Phoenix, you put 4 tires on your driver.
Well, that's not what Chris Gabehart did. And so we'll see if that was a championship decision.
Get them good cleaned up there. The 12 also took 2.
Oh, the nerves.
Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, they were first and second off of pit road.
I could be proven wrong, but I didn't even consider 2 tires with that few cars on the lead lap with that good of a car.
Well, here we go. Late race restart, and they haven't been good for Denny Hamlin so far today. Early in the race, look at all the cars on the bottom. He gets eaten up, gets put 3 wide, and loses the lead on this restart. Then a little bit later, not control the race, spins his rear tires. Joey Logano is gone, and he's trying to catch up. And then again, this big rear tire spin. 18 car actually into the back of him a little bit. So all of those mistakes that he made earlier, those are okay, as long as he learned from them and he can apply the things he learned. Marty?
You guys talked about the feedback from Denny Hamlin to Chris Gabehart, and he needed to give that late in the race. Well, actually, he gave that after stage 1. Remember, they pitted after stage 1, and they had a restart at that moment. Hamlin won stage 1, and he said, if we have a short run at the end of the day, here's what I need in the car. So Denny gave that feedback way earlier in the day. We'll see if it was the right feedback, and he can get it right this time on the final restart of the day.
To make it a little more complicated for the driver, you haven't restarted on 2 tires. Right? All that stuff we just showed, there was always 4 tire stops. Now you're going to do 2 tire stop, older tires on the lefts, hot tires on the lefts. The car is going to respond differently to that.
Well, to make it more complicated, there'll be 2 tires across the front row of Denny
What we have
Hamlin.
here. You know why? Get you a good restart.
So the 12 of Blaney needs the best restart he's ever had in his life. To have an opportunity, just to have an opportunity down here in turn 1 and 2. Denny taking that high line, which has been the advantage through that corner.
Remember, the caution came out for the 36 of John Hunter Nemechek. We saw how he had hit the wall very hard on the right side, that right side damage. That's the reason for the caution. It's going to be a 3-lap shootout. The pace car is off. Now it's all in the hands of the driver. He only got 2 fresh Goodyear tires on the right side. Also, the 12 of Ryan Blaney, the same thing. Ryan Blaney's in the same boat. He wins the race. He goes on to the championship 4. If Denny Hamlin or Ryan Blaney don't win this race, then Joey Logano is in position to join Kyle Busch in the championship 4. Could be the biggest restart of his career as they come back. Green flag in the air. Logano, can he make it to the championship 4? Will Denny Hamlin get a good restart? It's 3 wide as they go into turn 1 for the lead. Denny Hamlin pulling out on the backstretch. He has the advantage over Kyle Busch.
It's a great 1 and 2 by Hamlin. Now you got to be perfect. We talked about painting that yellow line early in the race. He has to do that perfectly the next 2 laps.
2 to go.
I thought that 11 car had to have 4 tires. It's so good. 2 tires is working. Holding on good for Blaney. Can Kyle Busch make one last push for the 11? It looks to me like the 11 has it in hand.
Give it to Ryan Blaney. Still up there fighting, but how about Denny Hamlin? Needed that great restart. Under pressure, got it. Now 1 to go.
1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank. One more time around 1 mile at ISM Raceway for Denny Hamlin to keep his championship dreams alive. The 18 trying to use those 4 fresh tires, but it's still 3 car lengths separating Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch. Through 3 and 4 the final time, Denny Hamlin has done it. He's won his way into the championship 4.
Where do you want to go in next? Where do you want to go in next?
That is a huge win. Mistake in Texas, put him in a bad spot. Came here, had a late race to restart, hadn't had great restarts all day, got it done when he needed to. That is a win of a future champion. That's what future champions are made of right there. Great job, Denny Hamlin.
What a car. What a call. I thought 4 tires were needed. They proved me wrong. Denny Hamlin wins on 2 tires. The restart, unreal. Got that clean air, used it.
Hell yeah, guys. We're going to Homestead.
Denny Hamlin wins in the NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs and advances to the Championship 4 in Miami. There's Coach Joe Gibbs. He's going to celebrate. It's the first time a team has ever had 3 cars in the Championship 4. This victory fueled by Sunoco. Fuel your best. Joe Gibbs Racing. 18 wins this season. That's over 50% of the races. Of the 35, they've won 18.
The turnaround for this team just amazing from last year to this year. Change in crew chief. The drivers have a lot of talent, but you got to have that guy on the box that can put all the people around him.
That's what it's all about right there. Denny Hamlin climbs out of the car and celebrates with his team. The people that helped him get to where he is today. And now a championship in front of him.
That's the best part, man. Be able to see your guys right after a win like that. Be able to celebrate with those guys right there in that moment.
Let's keep the emotions going. Rutledge.
Denny Hamlin, somehow you did it. The drive of a lifetime. The whole team here meeting you. Congratulations, you raced your way into Homestead.
I can't believe it. Just this race team worked so hard this whole year. They deserved there, and I put them in a bad hole last week. And I told them today in the meeting, I just said, I'm going to give everything I've got to make up for the mistake I made last week, and that's all I got.
And when that caution came out, we could see the in-car. The frustration was real. How were you trying to manage there with that last restart?
It's just, I've been through so many playoffs and so many things that go wrong. I just, I don't know. This year I'm always waiting on the right thing, the next thing, right thing to go happen. And it's just, can't thank this whole FedEx ground team enough. Toyota, oh man, my team. I don't have words yet. I'm gonna have to do a little bit more donuts. I'm not done yet, fans. And then we'll go to Homestead.
Congratulations, you raced your way into Homestead for your championship. We'll see you in victory lane.
Thank you.
Denny Hamlin, your winner today. Make some noise.
First one was already pretty impressive. Sliding and spinning around in front of the grandstands here, the sold-out grandstands at ISM Raceway. Now he's asking, how do I get to victory lane? Hey guys, how do I get there?
Not many times you see Denny Hamlin struggling to find words, you know, and it shows you how big of a moment this is. You know, now we're talking about an even more confident Denny Hamlin. We said a few weeks ago we can't imagine anybody being more confident than Denny Hamlin. Well, it just got bigger.
I had mentioned the line was going to separate elation from disappointment. And which side of the line would Denny Hamlin end up being on? Well, we just saw the elation as he got out of the car and celebrated with his team. His 6th win of the season. And as you mentioned, Jeff, momentum. He has the momentum now that he wanted, that he needs to go into the final race of the season and race against Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, and Martin Truex Jr. The championship 4 is set. Denny Hamlin has won his way in here at ISM Raceway.
On a day when he needed, Denny Hamlin delivers in Phoenix. Never has a bath like that felt so good for Denny Hamlin. Best drive of your career, Denny?
Oh, man. One of the best cars in my career, I can tell you that. I mean, it's just a fast car, but yeah, I pushed for all I had. I mean, that's all I got. So once we got the big lead there, a little over 10 seconds, I just kind of sat there, and then I got to thinking about, well, if the pressure does come out, I want to lap as many as I can. And that's all we had. So proud of this whole FedEx racing team. Proud of Toyota for locking up the Manufacturers Championship this week. It's amazing. Toyota, the Jordan brand, Little Big Burger. I mean, just the entire FedEx group for an unbelievable team.
You downplayed it all week long, but honestly, were the nerves there, understanding how big this moment was for your career, Denny?
Yeah, I mean, I try not to put too much into it. I mean, there's still work to be done. It doesn't guarantee a championship, but it gives us a chance. It gives us live to fight another day, and that's all you can ask for.
Chris Gabehart told you, and then speaking of Chris Gabehart, he comes in right now. Oh.
And it was the Gatorade bath, I think, that got rid of Marty's microphone. As we look at the Coca-Cola, it could have been a Coke that also got it, but a Coke winning moment. It was the restart. He had 2 fresh Goodyear tires, had to outdo the 12 and the 18. He did it like he had done all day long, had dominated. Advancing to the championship 4 and celebrating with his team. And let's take a look unofficially at the championship 4. Again, with the wins earlier, Martin Truex Jr., Kevin Harvick. Now with the win here at ISM Raceway, Denny Hamlin joins, and it was points that got Kyle Busch to be a part of the championship 4. They will race for a championship next Sunday. Again, 2 p.m. Eastern on NBC. All of those drivers fighting for a championship, with the exception of Denny Hamlin, a champion looking for their second. Denny Hamlin looks for his first, and the defending series champion won't be fighting for a championship this year. Dave caught up with him.
Well, early in the race, Joey Logano had a car that would lead. Joey, any idea what happened later?
No clue. No clue. It went from a car that can lead and win a stage and run really well, and from what they told me, just an air pressure adjustment made it go from a winning car to can't stay on a lead lap, and one of the tightest things I've ever driven. And I don't really understand it. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, you change tires and change a half pound of air. That sounds ridiculous. So it is what it is. Just wasn't our year to make it, I guess. But we'll fight for 5th, I guess, in points for this year, and we'll move on. So it stinks. It hurts a little bit, but we'll live. We'll live. Everything's going to be okay. Life's a lot worse in other ways for some. So we're still fortunate to be here and get to do what we love. So it's a bummer for sure. It doesn't take anything away from that, but it's just part of the game sometimes.
Was there anything you felt mechanically other than the fact that the handling went away? No other clues for you?
It just was, like I said, the tightest thing I've ever driven. I don't know why it would do that. So just change tires. So it is what it is. We fought hard. We did what we had to do in the front half of the race. We had a fast car, and the guys did a good job at that. And we got really fast pit stops, and we were in championship mode there, I thought, and then just something fell apart and just needed a caution. A course of all runs to run really long. That was the one. So it is what it is. And at the end, you just hope that Harvick or Truex wins at the end, but that was a wishful thinking.
Your championship run to defend ends here, Joey. What will be the feelings going into racing next week?
The same. I mean, we're going to go there to win. The goal doesn't change. Our goal is the same whether we're in the playoffs or not. It's to win, and we'll go down there and prepare the same way we were going to, and win the race. That's the goal.
Tough day for Joey Logano. On top for a while, they couldn't come through at the end.
A runner-up finish today for Kyle Busch, but more than enough to put him through to the championship for the 5th straight year. Kyle, you led 69 laps early in this race, and how big of a swing did the car and everything else take once you lost that clean out front?
Yeah, a little bit, I guess. Just didn't quite have enough. I thought I knew the 11 was the best car in practice. I knew we were going to be about 3rd to 5th, and we were 2nd. So, guys did a great job. This M&M's Camry was really good. Thanks to JGR, everybody at Toyota, TRD, Ream, Stanley, Interstate Batteries, Cessna. It's cool to have an opportunity to go race for a championship, obviously. Just keep coming up short.
Kyle, every year it's taken a win in Miami to win the championship. How do you go there and do what this team hasn't been able to do in the last 21 races?
Yeah, thanks for the reminder. Fight as hard as we can, do the best job we can, exactly what we did today. Today we just weren't good enough, so next week we'll just have to make sure that we are, and somehow, some way, if it works out, it was meant to be, and if it doesn't, then it's not. And hopefully the sun will come up for another day.
5 straight championship 4 appearances for Kyle Busch and this 18 team.
So Kyle Busch obviously has been impressive. He's looked very good, hasn't won for quite some time. So going into the championship 4, when you think about the momentum, you have Martin Truex Jr., Kevin Harvick, and now Denny Hamlin have all won over the last 3 races. That has to give them momentum.
It does, but momentum was completely gone from the 11 of Denny Hamlin heading to Phoenix. He made a mistake last week in Texas. So momentum is real if you can use it, but it's not necessary. What I do think will be necessary will be a win. While it's not by the rules, it'll be the highest finisher. The field is too stacked. Those 4 drivers are too talented. They win too many races. I think you're going to see those 4 battling for a win, which will enable them to be the champion.
Does Martin Truex Jr. have an advantage because he's had a little bit more time? The team has already been focusing on Homestead-Miami for 2 weeks now.
Yeah, I think that advantage is real. The 19 team knew about it. We've heard the reports all day. They sent crew members home, didn't even bring some crew members here to focus. It'll be interesting, though. Never have we seen 3 cars from the same organization in this format. 3 Joe Gibbs Racing cars. I don't know how an organization divvies up the support during the week. That's going to be interesting to see. Kevin Harvick, on the other hand, the only SHR, the only Ford, a guy who has been there before. I'm not willing to handicap it. I'm going to see some cars in practice. The 11 showed up in practice here and then backed it up in the race. And what a job. So many times we see a dominant car lose a race. The late caution did come. The big call by the crew chief to take 2 tires. I thought that was the absolute raw thing. They should have just put 4 tires on. They proved me wrong. Denny Hamlin proved everyone else that he could do it on the biggest stage. That was in question in the end. The 11 showed up. In my mind, clearly the biggest win of his career.
What an incredible drive it was. Let's bring in our drivers. And that was an emotional day for Denny Hamlin, coming in knowing he had to win and was able to do the walk-off and get the win.
Yeah, it was like a walk-off grand slam to end the game and put them in the playoffs. I would say that celebration was akin to a team winning a division title. It was great to see. Denny kind of downplayed the situation all weekend, but you could see the nerves building as we got closer and closer to race time. And now after they have been successful and put themselves just with a chance to race for a title, you see the elation and the happiness in that team. It tells you how important this is to all these guys.
Denny Hamlin's going to Homestead. He's going to race Harvick, Busch, and Truex. They've all won in this format. They've all gone to Homestead and had to win and made it happen. Denny Hamlin did that today. And I think that's a big help, because when you go somewhere and you have to win and you haven't really done that before, going against 3 guys that have, now you have. Now you feel like you have done it and you can do it. So I just think today, rather than him finishing 2nd or 3rd, and getting himself in, I think that the way he won, that's a down payment on a championship in the future. He's ready for this moment. We've said it. He said it. His crew chief said it, and he proved it today. And I just think that goes a long way.
He's a race away from a championship. Now, Steve, you thought it was a bad call to go with just 2 tires with such a dominant race car.
Oh, I thought it was for sure the wrong call. It was going to take 4 tires, but Chris Gabehart, I guess I should have paid attention. This is his 6th win of the year, so he has a pretty good handle on it. And Marty, I think you've caught up with the crew chief?
I have. I found him, and so Stevie was worried about your 2-tire call there. Were you questioning that at all to take 2 tires in that last caution?
Well, I mean, golly, if you ain't questioning it, you ain't breathing, right? This is the playoffs on the biggest stage, trying to get Denny Hamlin and FedEx in the playoffs. Of course you are, but again, control the restart. And my race team just executes so well. I mean, I ain't going to get into it, but we got to play for every scenario. And you saw a play right there, and we're going to Homestead.
Hey, I want to ask you, you told me yesterday you wanted the chest thumping, the name calling, or the guy who called a shot, Denny Hamlin, behind your wheel. Is that the guy who had that final restart today?
Yeah, I mean, this is pro sports, man. And when you're going to compete at the highest level and beat the best, that's the guy you got to have. I mean, in any sport, I don't care what it's talking about, they have to be elite athletes. And this guy right here is as elite as it gets. When he's on, and I just can't be prouder of the race team of Joe Gibbs Racing, FedEx, Toyota, Denny Hamlin, all my guys. I say it every week, I wear it out, but there's just no excuse to lose. And when we execute, we can win anywhere.
So you want a driver with a lot of confidence and a team with a lot of confidence. So are you as bold to say you're now the favorites to win the championship next week?
Hey, the goal all along was always to get to Homestead. That was the goal. In this format, against these drivers, any one race, there's a million parts on 40 race cars out there. Anything can go wrong. But getting to Homestead is a sign that you're worthy of a championship. And this team is worthy of a championship. And we're going to go to Homestead. We're going to give it hell.
Is it going to be strange at all with 3 Joe Gibbs Racing cars in the championship 4?
I can think of a lot worse things. Yeah, it's going to be a fun week. Harvick. Yeah, okay. The 4 and Rodney Childers and Kevin Harvick, Stuart Haas. What an amazing organization that is. Those guys are going to come loaded for bear. Absolutely no doubt about it. But man, what a week this is going to be. I'm pumped.
Going to be an interesting week at Joe Gibbs Racing headquarters in Huntersville, North Carolina. Hey, Gabehart, there's pictures going on over there. Go jump in them. Chris Gabehart, winning crew chief here for Denny Hamlin and his race team.
Winning crew chief, winning car, winning call by a first-year Cup crew chief, 6 wins. I can't wait to go talk to him in Miami, shake his hand. I love to be proved wrong by a crew chief, and he did it today. What a race by that guy.
I like the way he applauded his team. He said, my team has done a great job. We're here with you till the top of the hour. Then it'll be local news except on the West Coast here on NBC. But make sure to join us on NBCSN for post-race coverage. Hear from plenty more drivers as well as Victory Lap at 6:30.